Are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I'm not sure where to start. First of all, of course, the Iran war is still on. It's still cracking. Hopefully, it ends pretty soon. I'm getting tired of this $1,000 per gallon gasoline I'm putting into my vehicle. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, Kash Patel, in my humble opinion, is a drunk, and it's time to go. Thank you for your service, bro. We appreciate it. Thank you. But everything does not last forever. Some things come to an end quicker than others. And in this case, it is your tenure because of your drinking and your ineffectiveness and this ridiculous SPLC kerfuffle. We'll talk about all those things a little bit later. And speaking about the SPLC, so the SPLC has been indicted for staging hate hoaxes, for paying informants. The problem is the federal government does that. So if that's illegal or somehow wrong, then it must also be wrong for the federales to do it. It's not a matter of, they're law enforcement, what they got to do with it. Either it's legal or not legal. If it's a thing only for law enforcement, then what about Project Veritas? Can that not do sting operations? Can you not have the undercover predator operations? How does that really work? We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, Spirit Airlines, is it going to be bailed out, taken over, bought or sold? We'll talk about all those things and a whole lot more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you're hearing thus far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got quite a bit going on tonight. And I think I want to start tonight's sermon by talking about Kash Patel. Kash Patel, bro, I said it. I don't know when I said it. I think I said it last night. And shout out to you guys who were on the Instagram stream last night. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. That Instagram stream will be up on the YouTubes for playback purposes on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the channel. I'm about to say what the date was. The date don't matter. Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Instagram live will be uploaded to YouTube, so you're able to watch it on the replay. But if you want to catch the Instagram stream live, I'm there each and every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or so. Now, during that stream last night, I spoke about my situation. My dad was an alcoholic. And before he died, he told me, tell the story. Tell them everything. Talk about your granddad who took his own life. Talk about me, who was an alcoholic. Talk about your uncle who died of HIV AIDS and was on HIV. He had HIV AIDS, and he was hooked on heroin, IV heroin. Talk about all of that stuff. So in this case, I'm gonna use it because I got permission. Now, dealing with somebody that got alcohol problems, somebody drunk when you see him, or even if you don't deal with them directly, like it's like your family member or your friend. You may work in a bar, a restaurant, a nightclub, anywhere where they sell alcohol, a casino. And you know what alcoholics look like. You know what it's like when somebody just got woken up from drinking and they didn't want to get up. You know what it's like having to go get somebody that is drunk and can't really move around. Okay, maybe you work in a hotel. Somebody gets drunk and passes out in the hotel room with the door locked. You got to break it open. See, that kind of thing is not abnormal for those who have dealt with somebody or have been around those who are drinking all the time. Kash Patel, I saw it, and shout out to you, Renee. Hey, congrats on your recovery. Keep on going, keep rocking and rolling, keep being a rock star, okay, and kicking that habit. Fantastic. Shout out to you. I think all of us have at some point dealt with a situation like this. Maybe we know somebody else that has dealt with it. A degree of separation is not uncommon. Kash Patel has been looking drunk from the beginning. But, I'm not going to say nothing like that because I don't know what's going on. He might just have that kind of face. He might just have, one eye might be a little bit messed up all the time. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with medical history. I can't diagnose someone as being something without any kind of evidence. I'm not a doctor, so I can't do that. But I saw his face, and I'm looking at it like, yeah, something ain't right. Okay, something ain't right. I know there's something here. Now, I'm not saying his alcoholism is affecting his performance. I mean, I would presume that it is. If they need you to be up making decisions and you've been drinking, you can't be reached. If you are belligerent with hotel staff, if you are drinking, guzzling beer on camera at the hockey game, that's not very good when you're talking about your productivity and your job performance. But maybe beyond those things, he was not necessarily a bad FBI director. However, when you're in that kind of position, you can't do stuff like that. If you are a low-level staffer, maybe you can get away with it. I mean, maybe, because if you're a low-level staffer, you got to be the best at what you do to keep your position. If you got drugs and alcohol in the way, you won't be able to do that unless you like Elon Musk. You got some kind of 10 trillion level IQ. But if you had that, you would not be a low-level staffer. But anyway, I think Kash Patel is a drunk. And I also think he's a paranoid freakout. There are quite a few instances that will let me know that. And this is not me trying to attack conservatives or attack anybody on the right. It's just about Kash Patel specifically. Kash Patel, that's his name. Kashyap, Kash Patel. I'm talking about him specifically. I ain't talking about the MAGA. I ain't talking about Republicans. I ain't talking about anybody other than him specifically. Now, he has had other issues, his girlfriend being one thing. Okay, he gave her like a SWAT team of security. A SWAT team of security. There was one time where they had left her side at some athletic event. It might have been the baseball game. I don't know what it was. They left her side for a moment. Total freak out. Rumor has it, word on the street, reports say that Kash could not log into his account. I don't know if it was his email or whatever, but he had a hard time being able to log in. And when that happened, he thought that he had been fired and had a big total freak out and a meltdown. But really, it was just a glitch. It was an error. It was an IT issue. He had not been fired. This is the paranoia kicking in. And then he used the FBI to investigate a journalist who wrote a bad article about his girlfriend. Now, you're going to get some spin on this story from some people that want to protect him. And really, to be totally honest, Kash, hey, I appreciate your service, but it's time to go because the things that are coming out right now are indefensible. So you're going to hear some spin that says, well, his girlfriend had got threatened by somebody who was inspired by their article. The girlfriend said that somebody threatened to beat her face in with the back of a rifle or something like this. Okay, a death threat or a threat of harm. Now, normally when there's death threats of harm to public figures, it's not a SWAT team of guys that go and investigate. It's not the FBI using resources to go investigate. That's usually not what happens. Maybe local police might get it at best. Local police will get it. But normally nothing happens. Normally there's not this big outpouring of effort to figure out who the person is that threatened one individual person. Okay, again, this is not Kash Patel himself. This is not somebody high in government. This is just Kash Patel's girlfriend. So it looks like he was intimidating the journalist for writing a bad article because the person who threatened the girlfriend read the article and was inspired by the article. So maybe the message was, hey, don't talk about her anymore because when you talk about her, you're inspiring negative feelings. But nobody else gets that kind of treatment. Nobody else gets that. I mean, I wonder how many death threats come against President Trump because of what the media writes, because of people being so crazy from the Trump derangement syndrome. I wonder how many. Nobody ever gets investigated for writing bad articles. That's not what you do. And quite frankly, it is unconstitutional. You have your First Amendment right, your freedom of speech, your freedom of press. Investigating her, intimidating the journalist is a violation of freedom of the press. So, Kash, you got all kind of problems, bro. You got a drinking problem. It's obvious to see it. I can see your face. I know what a drunk, strung out, hungover person looks like. You slurring your words. In the lawsuit, that's something else you do. Aside from using FBI resources to go after unfavorable article writers, aside from using the FBI to go after reporters who writes unfavorable articles about your girlfriend, you're also suing some of these same publications for bad articles. There was one lawsuit that you wrote against, you filed one lawsuit against somebody. I forget who it was. It was not the journalist who wrote the bad article about the girlfriend. It was somebody else. I think it was somebody on TV. Somebody on TV said something about you and you sued them for that. Sir, do you know how many times I've been called every name up under the sun on TV, off TV, whatever? How am I going to go sue over that? Again, you're violating freedom of speech. Okay, Kash, you're born and raised in the USA. Do you not understand the concept of free speech? You should. You should. It's a core tenet of being an American is the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press, and you're violating that. Now we got a new lawsuit against the Atlantic because they said you're drinking and carrying on. So you want to sue this person, you want to sue that person, you want to use the feds to go after this reporter. You can't do stuff like this. You're trying to intimidate the press. You cannot use your resources in this way. So I think what has to happen is he needs to go ahead and just step down or he's going to get fired. If I was President Trump, I would give him an ultimatum like, yo, you know what? It is time to step down. Thank you for your service, but it's time to go. And if you don't want to go, we got to get you up out of here. Simple as that. Now, the guy who may replace him, I'm not sure who it's going to be. I think the acting attorney general is Todd Blanche, and Todd Blanche is kind of shaky. There was a really strange body language moment when Kash had just got done presenting the SPLC case. We'll talk about that in a minute. And he's at the podium answering questions about the allegations and the girlfriend and the drinking and all kind of stuff. Todd Blanche is like nervously over his shoulder trying to end it. It was weird. It was really crazy. So I don't know about Todd Blanche. If you guys know about Todd Blanche, let me know in the comments. But him as the attorney general to replace Pam Bondi, I don't know. Now, you heard it here first. If nobody has said it yet, you heard it here first. Kash Patel will be fired or he'll resign pretty soon. So who do you guys think should replace Kash? Give me some nominations, suggestions in the comments. Who do you guys think will replace Kash? Because someone will replace him. And when they replace him, they're going to throw his photo in the trash and take a picture of it. The same way they did with Pam Bondi. That's what's going to happen. Mark my words. You heard it here first. And I defended Kash just like I defended Kristi Noem and everybody else. Hey, you know what? You guys are loyal to us in the podcast game and other ways. Thank you for that. Here's the opportunity. You want to help lead this nation? You want to step up to the challenge? Okay, cool. Here you go. You didn't do a great job at it, so now it's time for you to leave, and we're going to bring somebody else in. It's nothing personal. It's just business. Hey, Kash, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, everybody who's been fired, let go, resigned. It's not personal. It's just business. I don't see you and your performance any differently than I see a Democrat and their performance. If the Democrat performs well, I say thank you for doing what you do. If they don't perform well, I'll say they got to go. Just like Sheila McCormick, the lady who stole the $5 million in FEMA funding. Now, I spoke about her on the previous live stream on YouTube, but Sheila McCormick, I don't know why you didn't resign earlier. It was kind of embarrassing. They were like, it's going to be a bipartisan thing. Democrats aren't going to have your back. Maybe she thought that she could kind of get away with it. The Democrats will have her back. No, you straight up stole $5 million. The Democrats will have your back if you take the money unethically in the way that's legal. You understand? Just like Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar has taken money from the government, but has done it in a way that would prevent her from being prosecuted. Not stop her from being prosecuted, but it'd prevent it because she did it in ways that are at least somewhat legal. But straight up stealing $5 million is not legal. And then you took the $5 million and put it into your campaign. You funded your campaign with stolen federal government money. Not only that, in my opinion, you also got Ozempic. Okay, you got that done. Hold on. Do I have a picture? Do I have a picture of the Ozempic transformation? Because that was a complete mess. It's like, lady, we can tell what you did here. It's not difficult to understand what is happening. Okay. Matter of fact, here we go. I got it. I got it right here. If you guys have not seen it yet, if I could just make it maximize, that'd be fantastic. All right, there we go. Boom. Look at this. This is not AI. What you see on the left is her most recent U.S. government Congress picture, Sheila McCormick. And on the right, I think that was her first picture she put out. Now, you see a big difference, pun intended. You see a huge difference, pun intended, because on the left, your face and everything is a lot more gaunt. You lost probably, I would say, 75 pounds easy from picture B to picture A. You lost quite a bit of weight. Now, you stole $5 million. That rock on your finger is super expensive, one of a kind. You spent a bunch of money in your earrings. That wig right there, and that wig is big money. See, before you had a little bit of money on, but you spent money on your wig. And this one, that's pretty expensive. You got 2 expensive wigs, but you got many more accoutrements, and you did some weight loss surgery potentially, and you got a lot more from stealing $5 million. Now, someone like this is irredeemable, and they got to get up out of here. Although I would say anyone questionable, like an Ilhan Omar and many others, need to get kicked out as well. They all should go. So yeah, shout out to all the thieves out there. The moral of that story is don't steal. Don't be a thief. Okay. If you want something, you need to work for it. You need to earn it. You need to acquire it fair and square. Don't steal. You will be found out, especially if you take in federal government money. They're going to track every red cent of that. They're going to track every red cent. And I hope that there's a criminal recommendation here, because if you or I steal money from our jobs, it's penitentiary time. Big rocks to little rocks. And in this case, what happened was she had a legitimate company and FEMA deposited too much money into their account. It was a mistake. $5 million. It was a mistake. Now, rather than holding on to the money, reporting the mistake, giving it back to the federales, she straight up spent it on the dumbest of things, a Tesla, clothing, vacations, just dumb stuff. Okay, trying to be the Real Housewives of Washington, D.C. or Potomac. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, you're trying to be like that. You're trying to flex on Instagram. Lady, you're a whole house rep. Just do that. Just serve your constituents out there in South Florida in the mostly black area. Serve them out there rather than trying to steal money from the feds and floss, as the cool kids say, with it. But anyway, shout out to her. Now, the SPLC. Let's talk about that briefly before we get into any videos and whatnot. SPLC. Now, I don't like the narrative that is being spun by people that says the SPLC is funding hate groups, because these hate groups existed before the SPLC existed. What the SPLC is doing is utilizing paid informants. And if we are to celebrate the SPLC being restricted from being able to use paid informants, then so shall right-wing organizations. Do you think there's no right-wing organizations that do stuff like this? There are. You may not know them, but they exist. I done seen them. I know some of the guys and girls in there. Yes, I do. I mean, one main one we could talk about is Project Veritas, also O'Keefe Media Group. It's a similar thing because, okay, let's talk about Project Veritas in relation to the SPLC. What Project Veritas does is set up people in the government with honeypots and gets them talking, and they record it and they put it out to show vulnerabilities in the government. That's what they do. Now, how do they do this? They got to have the equivalent of an informant. People that work for and or with Project Veritas. I know some of these girls. Look, I know at least probably, I would say I know 2 girls that work with Project Veritas, or they wanted to. They told me, they were like, hey, I was trying to get on and I know some people. Yeah, that is a paid informant, because you're not supposed to know what they do. They do things kind of under the radar, kind of undercover. They might go on 2 or 3 dates. They're basically doing undercover cop work, but for a non-governmental organization, an NGO. That's Project Veritas, O'Keefe Media Group, and Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, I don't like SPLC, but I'm sure the Democrats don't like James O'Keefe or Project Veritas or O'Keefe Media Group. But if I celebrate the SPLC possibly being prevented from using paid informants, then it's got to be the same thing for James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, doesn't it? Because it'd be in that same category. And if it's not, it'd be argued in court. So the SPLC should be able to use paid informants. The problem with it, the issue with the SPLC is not the use of paid informants, although that is the headline that is being kind of kicked around. Their issue is that they did not pay them properly. They set up shell companies and whatnot, but that's a minor offense. All they're going to get for that is a fine. Ain't nobody going to prison, and they got plenty of money. They spent $3 million over the course of 10 years, thereabout, on the paid informants, but they have an endowment of $822 million. They got in 2024 $106 million and change in donations. So they got enough money to be able to pay a fine. It's not a big deal. It's nothing burger. If the objective is to get them to stop with the paid informants, that's not going to happen, because it'd be the same thing for the federales. It'd be the same thing for O'Keefe Media Group. It'd be the same thing for any right-wing organization that uses paid informants to infiltrate leftist groups. I've shown videos on here of guys infiltrating Antifa. If these guys are paid to do that, is that a bad thing? It helps us. But if the other side pay people to infiltrate us, now we want to stop the whole process, the whole thing? I don't think so. I think not. Now, someone says what SPLC is doing is illegal. What are they doing that's illegal exactly? What does the indictment say? The indictment says wire fraud, bank fraud, money laundering. And again, that is related to how they were being paid, not that they were being paid. It is not illegal to use paid informants. As an NGO, non-governmental organization, not law enforcement, you can do that. As a regular, everyday citizen, as an NGO, as law enforcement, you are allowed to use paid informants. Here's an example in real world. Okay. A private investigator. It's kind of the same thing. You're going through a divorce. You hire a PI to track your wife. That's not illegal. You could say it's unethical and you don't like it and it's kind of something, but it's not illegal. So you can't go to jail for that. I've not ever seen anybody go to the penitentiary for using the paid informant, for using the private investigator or paid informant. It's just not really a thing that can happen, at least from what I'm able to see from the law. Although I might not like the SPLC, which I don't like the SPLC, if I deny them their right, then I'm denying a right that we all have. So the same thing will happen to me. And they're going to cite that and say, oh, well, what about this? Ain't this you? You voted against the SPLC being able to use paid informants. So your right-wing group trying to infiltrate the left will not use paid informants either. What's fair is fair. And how can I argue against that? I can't. So it is what it is. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. Yeah, they got the wire fraud. But again, the reason why they got the wire fraud is because they did not pay them properly. They set up shell companies to hide the transactions. Now, some say that they committed fraud because they raised money for one thing and used it for something else. I don't think so, because the money was raised to fight extremism, right? So if they hire a private, a confidential informant to infiltrate these organizations, that fits right within the thing that they raised money for. You paying this money, you're donating to us to have us infiltrate right-wing organizations. We use a paid informant to infiltrate right-wing organizations. Your money is being used for the exact purpose in which you donated. That's not fraud. Fraud would be if they said we're raising the money to infiltrate right-wing organizations, and then they put it in their own personal pocket and go buy a Tesla and hair weave and the big ring and the big, that'd be considered fraud. But that didn't happen here. So it is what it is. But shout out to SPLC, not my favorite organization. I don't like them at all. They are not favorable or kind to conservatives. But again, O'Keefe Media Group, not very kind or favorable to the liberals. And we got a brand new O'Keefe Media Group video that has resulted in a bigwig in the nuclear sector being kicked out of his job, being escorted out of the Pentagon. Okay. So shout out to O'Keefe Media Group, Project Veritas, and all the other small guys out there doing a lot of good work in DC and elsewhere. Mike A says, we'll see when it hits the courts, but I believe you're giving them too much credit. I'm saying the exact correct thing. And you guys will see it. Once it hits the court, what I'm saying is correct. A lot of the DOJ stuff is not sticking because you got weak cases. The cases are weak. I mean, some of these cases are just political. Okay, I'm doing something. Look at me. I could not get the Epstein file thing right the way that everybody wanted. I couldn't get this. I couldn't get that. Hey, look at this. The SPLC is funding hate groups. It's a nothing burger. It's a shiny object. It's a cat with a laser point. That's all that this is, in my humble opinion. It ain't nothing to it. And people will be kind of disappointed when this results in nothing, but fewer people will still watch the story after the initial headline than those who saw the first headline. You see the first headline, fantastic. It's a feel-good story. 2 years later, when the case ends with nothing but a fine at best, ain't nobody going to care because the initial story has gone away. The initial interest in that topic has faded. So who cares? What you guys will see in a very short period of time, you guys shall see. And I would never name no names. I would never name no names of anybody that could be considered Project Veritas or anybody like that. I'm not going to tell that. And speaking about not telling, the sugar baby. So there's a sugar baby who has been, I guess, suspended, put on paid leave from the administration. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically, this is somebody that has a boyfriend that gives her a lot of money. That's all that it is. Some want to say that's like the equivalent of prostitution. I don't think so. That's not the same thing. If you got a girlfriend who is just expensive and spoiled, that ain't the same thing as going out to Figueroa in Los Angeles and getting the girl to go in your car. That ain't the same thing. One of those is very dangerous. You're going to have drugs and pimps and police involved. It's straight up illegal for a reason. You are probably engaging with a human trafficking victim. In this case, she had a really big job. She was a doctor, big brain, Capitol Hill, probably made 6 figures or more herself, easy. Her boyfriend that she met on a dating app, whether it was Seeking, whether it was Hinge, he said he spent like 40 grand on her in 3 months. And because I guess it ended, she found somebody else. Then he got mad and told the government, hey, she's a sugar baby and she might not be stable financially and she's subject to being honeypotted. She's subject to being a risk because of her lifestyle. What happened was he got mad, the situation ended, and he told the government. That is completely egregious. I would never do a thing like that. Hey, bro, you had a good time with the young lady. You're much older than she is. You already knew what time it was. She's young and hot. You like 70-something years old, bro. Just, hey, you paid the $40,000. You had a fantastic time. It's over with. Move on with your life. Don't go tell on the girl and try to get her fired because you're offended and you're mad that it's over with. That ain't your wife. That's just your friend for the moment. It's over with. Move on with your life. And she said that. She said the only reason why this is a thing is because my ex-boyfriend got mad and told on me. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. And again, that person was in the administration at a high level in counterterrorism. Yeah, counterterrorism. Now, some said, how did she go from being a lower level staffer to that high position in counterterrorism? Well, sometimes when you talk to people, you're able to see what they can do. You're able to evaluate their talents and place them in the right places. They want to say it's because she's attractive and Trump liked her. Well, just because you are a nice person to look at does not mean that you are not able to do the job. That's kind of like discrimination in a different way. And people think it's not really a thing because they're attractive. Oh, how can they be the victim? How can it be discrimination? It can be. Sometimes they get the so-called pretty privilege, but other times they get discriminated against because they're pretty, and people think that they're dumb and they don't know anything. But they could be very, very, very intelligent people in these roles performing these tasks. So it is what it is. All right. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. And I did see that, Deborah, about 11 scientists that are missing. I did a video on that. I think I spoke on it on a live stream. But yeah, hopefully, because I think Trump said it last week, that we get some answers here pretty soon about what's happening. What it could be is one of maybe three things. One thing could be you have aliens. Okay, like the man from the, it could be aliens, but seriously, it could be that. It could be foreign actors who have invaded the country through the southern border or other means, foreign actors attacking these people for national security purposes of their nation, or it could be a coincidence that it just happened to, you know, not all at once, but over a short period of time, pop up missing or pop up dead. So we'll see. I'm leaning more toward it's mostly a coincidence, but there might be a couple of cases of some nefarious activity, maybe a foreign actor. Aliens, I don't think aliens are malevolent. I don't think they are a security risk to our country, because we're talking about aliens, advanced civilizations that can do things that we have no idea. If they can manipulate physics in ways that we don't know, then that means whatever we have, as far as weaponry, as far as defenseless, as far as defenses, are defenseless against them. So whatever they wanted to do, they could just do it. It wouldn't be any kind of covert action. You know, we just come into your house in the middle of the night and take you. Nah, they could just conquer us completely if it was like that. So I don't think that we are in danger of the aliens if the aliens are a real thing. And I also believe that aliens are here on Earth and we don't even know it. We have a bunch of alien species of animals that we see all the time and we don't know where they came from. The octopus, that's a really strange animal. We're talking about our ecosystem and the way that typical life works. That might be more of an updated version of a biological life form that we got put here on planet Earth by a really intelligent external source. But hey, we'll see. We'll see how that whole thing goes once we get some disclosure. The Stephen King movie coming out pretty soon, Age of Disclosure. I want them to disclose whatever they're going to do. I'm seeing Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna going on TV talking about it. Hey, whatever you have to disclose, go ahead and put it out there and let us know what it is. So the tension, so the anticipation can dissipate. Mean You says over 178 scientists disappeared in less than 15 years. No one's intentional. Well, if it's intentional, then the question would be who is doing it. And 178 scientists, is that from one country or from various countries? If it's from various countries, then you probably would think that it's not just, you know, a foreign power doing it. And it could be that some of our forces are hurting them and their country, and some of theirs are hurting us and our country. It could be kind of a covert war going on. It's hard to tell what's happening with that, but if there's something, I think we should find out here pretty soon. That's my hope. That's my dream, I suppose, that we figure that out pretty soon. All right. Did I get everything I wanted to get to before I keep rocking and rolling here? Oh, Spirit Airlines. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you guys think they should bail out Spirit Airlines? Y'all let me know. For me, I understand the reason why they might want to do that. The reason they want to do that is because they don't want to have, first of all, 14,000 jobs go away. They don't want that to happen. And they also don't want the airline to be merged, because when you have a merger, oftentimes that disincentivizes competition, and you could have a lower quality performance as a result, because there's less of an incentive to keep a very high performance. You see, so I understand the pros and cons of a bailout. Now, the number I'm seeing floating around for a bailout or financial assistance from the government is $500 million. $500 million. Now, hey, to the federales, if I am experiencing financial difficulty in my life as a regular American citizen, can I get a little something? Can I get a little bailout? And them taxes are beating me down. Hey, if you owe okay, for a prime example, Floyd Mayweather on all that money in back taxes, like 7 or 70, some kind of millions of dollars in back taxes. Rather than them going out there and having to fight Manny Pacquiao at 50 years old, rather than them doing that, hey, feds, can I get a bailout? I've been so great to the country, pardon me. I've been a great patriot to the country. I've provided a lot of entertainment. I've made you guys quite a bit of tax money. Can I get a little tax break? Can I get a little bit of reduction in my tax expenditure because of who I am? Why not? If you give it to the big auto industries and to the airline industries, why not to me as well? But Trump and the team may say the reason why this is happening with Spirit going out of business, going bankrupt, and potentially losing 14,000 jobs in the process is because the Biden administration did not want the merger to happen. They wanted to merge, I forget with who, but they wanted to merge, and Biden admin said no. So as a result, Spirit may go bankrupt if they don't get the bailout from the government, $500 million. Now, I'm going to ask y'all, should we do that? Is that a deal we pull the trigger on, or we just leave it on the table and let them go bankrupt? I mean, I'm hearing different people say different things. Some say, let them go bankrupt, no bailouts, we're not with it. And some say, it's $500 million, it's not really a big deal. I mean, that bridge to nowhere in California might cost that much when it's all said and done, only to have cougars have a whole brand new fresh batch of humans to chomp on in the meantime. You understand what I'm saying? So $500 million on the bridge to nowhere, or $500 million to rescue 14,000 jobs and keep a low-cost airline in the sky. You know, some of y'all would not be able to fly if not for the low-cost airline. And if you have fewer or no low-cost airlines, there will be no low cost. That could be a good thing because you can maybe improve the quality of the rider. You're gonna have less. You're gonna have fewer gate side freakouts, gate side crashes. You might have fewer of those, but again, you could have a diminishing quality in service because there's less competition. But y'all let me know. One versus Windshield says, bad product, let it go. Hey, I get it. I understand. He says, bad product, let it go. I've heard that argument, and I get it 100%. I feel it in my chest. You're right about that. You're right about that. But again, there's pros and cons. It could be a bad product, but again, people use it all the time. People depend on that all the time. So you could keep it and keep that low cost fare for people, or let it go and remove the low cost fare. I think personally, if it's me being selfish, I think removing or reducing the amount of low cost fares would be better for the person riding airplanes. It would be worse for the industry because it would take away 14,000 jobs. And you're talking about pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, all of that, gate agents, all of that. So it's pros and cons to it, but we'll see. Wildlife is Rough says low budget airplane rides who are bankrupt. Nope. Now I'm reading some of the comments, or I read some of the comments on my video about the bailout, the little short video I did. And one comment said that the way that Delta, and I think it might have been American, the way they make their money is just from the credit cards, not from flight necessarily, because flight, maintaining an airline is very expensive. It's very, very expensive. And the ticket's not enough. It's not enough. All these airlines have credit cards. I think Frontier has a credit card. It's always this like thing they do, like a timeshare presentation when they are doing the intro. Okay, buckle your seatbelt, put your mask on. Is that in the third exit row? Do you want to open, yes or no? During that process, they roll out these cards and they try to sell you the cards because that's a big money maker. 25, 30% interest on cash is easy money. it's easy money. And they might give you certain little perks on the flight, so you're incentivized to use the card. And ultimately, they're going to be able to charge you the interest and make money that way. That is what is keeping a lot of these airlines afloat. But Spirit is just low cost, and I don't know. It's just an issue over there. But either way it goes, I think they're going to raise the prices of these tickets to match what it needs to be for an airline to stay afloat. But anyway, JV says bad business models need to fail. Hey, I get it. But again, there's pros and cons to that. But I think if they don't get this money, they're going to fail. And maybe in the future, they will fail. If they get some money from us, they say they need $500 million. If they get that from us and then they fail shortly afterward, then we know that the statement about bad business models failing is correct. It doesn't matter how much money you pump into it, it's going to fail. Just like, hey, if you give someone $5 million of stolen money, it doesn't really matter what you tell them. They're going to spend the money on things that they shouldn't spend the money on. First of all, they shouldn't be stealing the money. But even if they were given the money or won the lottery, if they got the $5 million fair and square, just from a random guy on the street, hey, I'm feeling gracious today. Here is $5 million cash. Take that, spend it on whatever. A person who will be good with money would not just go immediately buy material things and spend all the money, although some will. That's a matter of your mental. Okay, simple as that. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Not tremendously. We got quite a bit. Cash and his drinking and all of that. But first things first, shout out to you guys for watching. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you're hearing, so you know what to do. Thank you guys for being the very first sponsor, but also thank you to patriotpost.us, your best source of news and information anywhere on these interwebs. Their link will always be in the description box, or visit patriotpost.us. Tell them that ABL sent you. Also, please go to the merch website, ablmerch.com. We got the hats, the t-shirts, stickers, the hoodies, mugs, and more right there on the website, ablmerch.com. Also, hold on. Also, go to my regular website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONYLB.com. Go to the front page of the website, and for each long form video that I produce, I write an article, and in each article, I got sources from the left, from the right, from the center, from the left, from the right, from the Democratic, Republican, politically agnostic, local, national, international, whatever you want. I got it right there on the front page of the website, anthonyblogan.com. Also, go to the contact page of the website, anthonyblogan.com/contact-us. There you're able to find my email address, my snail address, my UPS box, of course, my social media accounts, my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, never going to call it X, TikTok. All my links are right there on the contact page of the website, anthonyblogan.com/contact-us. And as I always say, if you think you're speaking to me on the interwebs or not, you're probably not if you did not email me at contact@anthonyblogan.com, which will always be on the contact page. If you did not email me there and I didn't email you back, you're not talking to me. I don't know who you're talking to. It could be a guy over in India, no flip-flops, bare feet on the ground outside. Okay, zero paved roads. Okay, you out there dealing with that kind of guy trying to scam you, or to be a guy Eastern Europe, white wife beater. Okay, Potbelly, Ivan Drago, Vladimir, Boris, one of these guys trying to scam you. Okay, Rocky and Bullwinkle type activity going on, trying to scam you. Or it could be a guy over in West Africa who looked just like me. It could be identical carbon copy, my twin over there. Okay, but their voice is not going to match. It won't be the same. It's going to be a little different. It's not going to be the same. Hey, you get them on the phone. Is this ABL? Hey, yes, it is. How are you doing? Welcome to ABL Life. That's not me. So please don't get scammed. I don't have that voice for real. It's not going to be me. I can make that voice, but it ain't me. Hey, if you hear that voice, ask them to do the regular voice. Hey, ABL, I don't believe that voice. Give me your real voice. This is my real voice now. Don't embarrass yourself on this phone. Got that on my face. It's not me. Please be warned. Don't get scammed in 2026. That ain't what you want to do. Now, Kash Patel, the U.S. hockey game. Why were you... Hold on. Kash Patel, bro, what are we doing? I know you were feeling good. Hey, I know you were feeling good. You're having a great time. But chugging a beer on TV as the FBI director, I think cannot. No way, Jose. Hey, you might as well be the president and spark up a bowl of crack on TV. How about that? ABL just having a good time. No. Not to be the FBI director. You want to be just a regular normie in DC minding your business? Okay. You want to be some random staffer that nobody sees? That's one thing. If you could do your job. But to be on television, to be on the news, international news, guzzling beer, no way, Jose. No way, Jose. No, he did not score the winning goal, JV. Hey, Kash Patel did not score the winning goal, but I can't tell. I mean, the way he was celebrating, you would think that he was out there like Wayne Gretzky. Anyway, let's watch some of this.
Kind of with us in spirit.
Then a wild scene in the locker room with FBI Director Kash Patel even spotted celebrating with the team, appearing to chug a beer before raising the bottle in the air, spraying it across the locker room.
Kash Patel. Hold on.
Team appearing to
Kash Patel. I don't want to see my FBI director doing this. I don't want to see that. And some of y'all talking about, oh, you can't have a beer? I mean, listen. I've had beer before. I never spread across the room and chug it on camera. And I'm not nowhere near the FBI director status. So maybe y'all do that. Maybe that's what you do at 38 years. How old is he anyway? Hold on. Kash Patel. You got to be about what? 44? 46. Okay. I was right in that ballpark. 1980. So you just turned 46 in February. Okay. Bro, no. You got this prototypical frat boy, podcast bro type of energy going on. And that's not what you need to be doing as the FBI director.
chug a beer before raising the bottle in the air, spraying it across the locker room. Patel dismissing critics who questioned why he was in the locker room. For the very concerned media, yes, I love America, and was extremely humbled when my friends, the newly minted gold medal winners on Team USA, invited me into the locker room to celebrate this historic moment with the boys.
With the boys, yeah. I mean, Kash, you don't got it, man. You don't got it. Not to be the FBI director. If you're just a regular normie, that's one thing. Okay, whatever. But FBI director, no, man, no. And it's affecting your work, though. That's the problem. So now you got to answer questions. And this body language right here from Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, is atrocious. Bro, both of y'all need to go ahead and just sit down for a minute. But definitely Kash. Kash, you drinking. You got a drinking problem. And Todd Blanche, you kind of spaz yourself. I don't know what's going on. Maybe you're just uncomfortable because you know. You might be able to smell his liquor off his body. You might know what's going on, but you can't say anything because that's going to just compromise the whole agency. What Kash Patel should do is just step down to save everybody the trouble, because we can see what's going on here, bro. Look at your man. Look at him. Look at his face. I'm going to play this where he's answering the question about his drinking, and you're going to look at, again, this is the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, next to him. You're going to see his body language in motion. Check it out.
After you were unable to log into the system.
Let's have a survey.
Oh, hold on. Let me start from the beginning. So the context, the question was about, did you freak out and think you got fired after you could not log into the system? Like I said earlier, you tried to log into the system at one point. It was not letting them get in. And he thought at that point he had been fired. Have you guys ever seen that clip from the New York Jets or whatever football team that was, where the guy goes to the practice facility and his code doesn't work? When the code didn't work to the practice facility, he knew that he had gotten fired or he had gotten cut from the team. In this case, Kash Patel thought that his little IT mishap with the computer where you couldn't log in was a sign that he had been fired, but he had not been fired. He's just a paranoid freak out, and he's always on edge about something because he's paranoid.
After you were unable to log into the system.
Let's have a survey. How many of you people believe that's true? Hang on.
Did you communicate?
You
with
asked the question. Let me answer it.
No, let me.
No.
Did you communicate with anyone that you thought you were fired after you were unable to log into?
The problem with you and your report, don't cut me off. You asked the question.
Straightforward question.
The problem with you and your baseless reporting is that is an absolute lie. It was never said. It never happened. And I will serve in this administration as long as the president and the attorney general want me to do so. And every time you guys report false lies, every time you guys raise baseless questions, when we are here to talk about the Southern Poverty Law Center's $3 million decade-long scheme to fraudulently fleece Americans, you are off topic.
It's a simple, straightforward question.
Your body language, Todd Blanche, your body language is crazy. Oh my God. I have never seen somebody so fidgety behind somebody as they were talking and answering questions at a podium. I've never seen that behavior before in my life.
Did you talk to anybody about whether you thought
The
you were
simple
fired?
answer to your question is you are lying. And every time you do so, I've answered your question. It's simply as follows. I was never locked out of my systems. Anybody who says
your
it,
lawsuit says the opposite. Your lawsuit contains
anyone that says the
your lawsuit-
opposite
your-
is lying.
The lawsuit
Thank you.
that you filed says that directly.
Man, stop. You're being extraordinarily rude. And I know maybe that's part of your profession, but please just stop. If you ask a question, he can answer it. And then wait, now you're interrupting me.
Man, that's a dumpster fire. A dumpster fire. Come on, Cash. Come on, man. Like, for real. Respectfully, you gotta go, man. It's time. It is time. Please, Trump, if you can hear something on my voice, if anybody from the admin, anybody on Capitol Hill can hear me, I'm a conservative guy. I'm a big conservative, ultra MAGA, super MAGA from the beginning. Please, let Cash go and bring somebody else in there that can do the job without drinking and acting the fool. That's all. That's all that I'm asking. So, yeah, shout out to Todd Blanche. You were hanging in there. Now, here's an article, Daily Mail, but it's on it's on a lot of websites. I'm just using this website right now, but it's not a Daily Mail exclusive. It says, furious Kash Patel's FBI launched chilling stalking investigation against reporter who dared probe his singer girlfriend. So what happened, the FBI had investigated a New York Times reporter after an unfavorable article about his girlfriend. The allegation is that after this article was written, somebody was inspired by it and threatened the girlfriend, talking about I'll bust your head in with the back of a rifle or something like this. Since that threat, a verbal threat, no physical altercation, no physical violence, no physical harm, just a verbal threat. After the threat was made, they used the FBI to investigate the threat. They talked to the reporter, and that ultimately led to them getting the guy and arresting him. Now, look, I've been called every name up under the sun. I done gotten threats. A lot of my friends have gotten threats. I've never in my life heard about the federales coming to investigate the threat, a verbal threat, having the federales. Maybe you could call the police locally in your town or in your city, and maybe they might do something. But the feds, no way. You are using the FBI as your own little personal kind of security and personal investigation firm. You can't do that, Kash Patel. You can't do that. You just can't. I'm not saying you should be able to threaten people, but the feds, we all get threats. I've been on the internet for a long time, but I got swatted. They came to my house. The police came to my house, guns drawn. I got swatted, but there was no, who am I going to sue? Okay, am I going to sue somebody because they did a video about me and it was unfavorable, I didn't like it, and I say that inspired somebody to go out there and threaten me or to try to dox me or to try to get me, in some serious trouble? That's not how that works. Anyway, I'm going to keep on going here. I'm going to keep on bashing Kash Patel, whoever said that. I've been bashing him for a full hour. I'm going to keep on bashing him because he deserves it. Now, look, he sued one of the places that put out a bad article. So on one place put out a bad article, he goes and uses the FBI to try and get him investigated. Then someone else says it, or they say something on TV he doesn't like, and he sues him. But this is the most recent one. This is the one about the Atlantic, talking about he's a drunk and whatnot. So he sued the Atlantic, and you could tell that he did it himself. There's all kind of typos and words that are not in the proper context. You don't have a great command of the English language, Kash Patel. What's going on with that? Did you speak multiple languages as a child? Like, what's going on? Typos, things out of context. Kash, you have to stop. You must stop, sir. Anyway, now, speaking about girlfriends and freakouts and crash outs, this is an older video of Lord Emperor Gavin Newsom back in 2026 when he was 38 years old. Now, again, 2006, he was 38 years old, and at that time he had a 19-year-old girlfriend. And the allegation was that he provided this girlfriend at the time, again, 19 years old, with alcohol, which is not legal because the drinking age is 21. Okay, so let's watch some of this. In the context again, the reporter will ask him about the girlfriend drinking kerfuffle, and you're going to see his reaction.
I'm asking about the attack on the Yale students over New Year's.
It's a good reminder how important it is to remind our parents to be good stewards of underage drinking.
I appreciate that. The only other question I have is, it hasn't been a very easy week for you, and I'm wondering whether you have any comment on the Mateer and Roth story about the drinking.
Thank you very much. That was a great cheap shot.
You can't help yourself. You cannot. Just know, for the record, it's increasingly impossible to have a conversation.
Mayor was out there. Mayor was out there.
Just know it's not personal when I walk by you. You just send some other reporters. It's going to be a lot easier now. You keep missing consistently a lot of facts because your opinion is so enthusiastic to getting away on facts. And then, let me tell you, the investigation is not helped by a lot of things that are in the report. Just stating that factually as well.
It's just a story, Mayor.
I'm asking about.
All right, there we go. So, Gavin, why not answer the question? Why freak out about that? What's the big deal? Like, I don't really understand. Bro, you had a 38, you were 30 at the time. You were 38 at the time. You had a 19-year-old girlfriend. You gave her alcohol allegedly. Either you did do it or you didn't do it. So use that time to confirm or deny. Don't freak out on the reporter. The reporter's job is to ask you questions. The reporter's job is to find out information. If they did not ask the question, then they're not a very good reporter, and they're basically in your pocket. They're working for you. But they don't work for you. The press does not work for you. The press, they have the job of trying to find the truth, period. That's their job, that's their objective, that's their goal. Now, do you guys think that Gavin has changed much since 2006? Has he changed much? I mean, he's gotten married since then, but that wife is a nut, just like he is. Anyway, let's keep on going. Okay, more on the labor of love. This is a recent story. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer resigns from Trump admin after misconduct investigation first exposed by the Post. Now, that's her right there. Okay, so what happened is a typical story that goes on with people in the workplace. She had a security guard, and her and the security guard became lovers. And I think that the security guard is married, or she's married. Either way it goes, that's the issue. That's the problem. Okay, now hold on. That's her right there in the yellow bikini. Just so we're on the same page. So for her, it's like the Kristi Noem kerfuffle. It's kind of silly. It's kind of dumb. But to the security guard, bro, I don't blame you. I understand. Hey, I'm not saying it's right that you did that you had this little affair. I'm not saying it's okay, but I get it. I get it. If I'm the guard, I'm going to at least give you a second look. I'm going to give you a second look, but I might not indulge. I'm just saying, I get it. Some of these things people are resigning for are not really that serious, but I guess this one is because I think they were married, and that's a problem. When you're dealing with married people, it could cause a lot of problems in a relationship. It could cause people to crash out and go crazy, and you don't want to have stuff like that going on. Now, this one, another person leaving, I don't think is anything worth leaving for. So DHS bigwig put on leave after ex-boyfriend accuses glitzy terror official of $40,000 sugar baby scheme. A scheme. Ain't no scheme. So look, here's what happened. This woman right here, this is the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, counter-terror official. That's her right there. And what's her name? Julia Varvaro. Okay, nice and pretty, young lady. I think she's like 29 years old. What happened was she met a guy on a dating app. It might have been Seeking, it might have been Hinge, one of these apps. And they have a 3-month romance. The guy gets mad when they break up. So he goes and tells the government that she's a sugar baby, offering her services, and he spent 40 grand on her and couldn't make her happy. Bro, really? So that your little dispute over this girl caused you to call the government and get her put on leave, maybe even fired from her job? Why? Hey, it didn't work out. She was never happy. You spent the money. Just take it as an L, move on with your life. Don't ever, to the guys out there, don't ever do this. Don't ever lash out at anybody because you're not with them anymore. Don't do that. You are 100% wrong. I defend her all day long. She did nothing wrong here. It's okay to have a boyfriend who spends money on you. That's a thing that happens. That's not anything new. We've always done that. It's all right. And plus, you're an old guy, 70-something years old, potentially. You know what time it is when you go to girl. Look at her. In her 20s. And this is not a slouch. She's a doctor, too. She's a big brain, makes money in the federal government. She's not some poor, street urchin. This is a real deal woman right here. Okay? And she probably was great at her job. Now you want to tell on her? No way. No way. Yeah, don't fire her. Hey, free her. Free her. Hey, you had a romance. It was 3 months. You spent 40 grand. You had a great time. She had a great time. It was over with. Let it go. Don't lash out after it's over with. Don't do that. Anyway, but that's her. So she's a graduate of St. John's Homeland Security program. And she says a complaint and nothing more than the jilted ex-boyfriend who was trying to get back at her. Okay. So, and the guy is decades older than she is. His name is Robert B. He claimed he poured thousands to the relationship until he realizing he was little more than a bankroll. Okay. So what? She was very good at being able to get you to spend some money, and you didn't want to do it no more. You broke it off. Now, speaking of spending money, Ilhan Omar, she was confronted about her financials. At first, you said you are worth up to $30 million. When the story hit the news, all of a sudden, oops, I made the mistake. My accountant made the mistake. It's not 13 million. It's 100,000. So she's being confronted right here about that. Now, if you got children in the room, cover their ears. There is sensitive language. Okay. There is sensitive language because Ilhan Omar is not very happy about being confronted in this way. Let's check it out. And before I continue, the woman who was getting the money, the sugar baby, whatever, she did nothing wrong at all. It is okay for your boyfriend to spend money on you. It's not a problem. It's not wrong. It's not nothing. It's okay. It's totally fine. And furthermore, dating in 2026 is like that. If you got money and she's pretty, y'all come together and y'all exchange. Okay, I'm pretty, you got money, we go together. 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, whatever it is whatever it is. But I digress. Again, Ilhan Omar confronted about her crazy mistake on her tax form, talking about I'm worth 30 million, but really it's 100,000.
Congresswoman Omar, the last time I spoke to you, you said that I was stupid for asking you about your financial disclosure, but there's some discrepancies on there. Would you like to explain that? How did you make such a big mistake on it?
Absolutely, you're stupid for asking me anything.
I am?
Yes.
Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big
I have
mistake?
explained to the American people.
What's the explanation?
I have given them the explanation.
Do you want to tell our viewers? Because
I don't want to tell you jack shit.
Oh.
How about that?
Okay.
All right. Okay. I don't want to tell you Jack, SH, you know the rest. And look at that face right there. Wow. I mean, imagine being Tim Mynett. You see that in the morning. It's like a roach on your face. Hey, imagine you are Tim Mynett and you see that in the morning. Man, I'm afraid. I'd be like, have I been invaded by the aliens? Are the reptilians at my door? What's happening?
Okay. Have a good day. Thank you, Congresswoman.
I mean, she talks like that because she knows that anybody gonna do nothing. And that's the problem. She's in Minnesota where everybody's a crook. Everyone is a crook in government. You're talking about not just the Somalis, but Jacob Fry, Tampon Tim, Keith Ellison. They're all in on it. So this is the look of arrogance. This is a look of confidence that I will not have any negative action come against me in the ways of legal proceedings. That's what that is. Hey, Jack, y'all heard it. I can't repeat that because, you know, I can't be cussing. But she said the naughty word. Okay, now, Sheila McCormick. I played this on the live stream, but I got to play it again for those who just saw the video that I put out about her. So this young lady stole $5 million from the federales and then spent it on just whatever she wanted. A Tesla, jewelry, Ozempic, beat wigs, whatever you want. She got it from that $5 million. I wonder how much of the money is left because I presume or I predict she'll have to pay some of the money back. Can she pay any of it back? We'll see.
Another lawmaker's career hanging by a thread. The House teeing up a vote on Tuesday to expel Democrat Congresswoman Sheila McCormick after the House Ethics Committee found her guilty of fraud. Now, she's accused of stealing $5 million from FEMA after a company she co-owns, Trinity Healthcare Services, received an overpayment of federal disaster funds back in 2021. Now, according to the indictment, she and her brother, quote, retained the $5 million that was mistakenly deposited with the intent to keep the stolen funds and convert the funds for their own use. It goes on to say she converted the money into illegal straw donor contributions, which she used to help her special election campaign. But listen to this. The money didn't just boost her campaign. It also bankrolled her luxurious lifestyle. The House Ethics Committee confirming she used some of the money to buy jewelry from Tiffany's, a Tesla, designer clothing, high-end hotels, and even a cruise. This was FEMA money, I remind you. Now, she also bought this, quote, fancy, vivid, yellow diamond ring. Look at that, which she showed off in her congressional headshot before editing it out after her indictment came out. You cannot make this up. Joining me now, the one lead.
So there she goes. And they were going to expel her because this all came out a while ago. The whole thing with the COVID money and stealing happened in 2021. So they've known this for quite a while. And she waited until the very last minute to go ahead and resign because she probably still wanted to get paid. What she probably wants is to get some kind of pension because if you are in the government for 5 years, like in this role, if you are a House rep, if you're in Congress for 5 years, you're able to draw a pension after that, lifelong pension for 5 years in Congress. So that could have been her objective here, but I hope that they don't allow her to draw a pension because you can't steal from the federal government and then get a pension. That shouldn't really be a thing, but we'll see. Furthermore, she should be in the penitentiary for doing what she did, not just having to resign or being forced out or getting expelled, which is what happened if she didn't resign at the very last minute. But anyway, shout out to you guys. I appreciate your rocking and roll. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Now, Cuba. And will we get Cuba? Will they be next?
And Cuba's a failing nation, and we're going to do this, and we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this. But Cuba is a nation that was just been horribly run for many years by Castro. And Cuba.
All right, so I hope that they go ahead and get Cuba. That'd be a fantastic thing. This video was when the DoorDash grandma came to the White House, so it's a few days old now, but I think once the Iran kerfuffle is complete, then we'll go to Cuba next. But I don't think Trump wants to begin. I don't think he wants to begin Cuba until we get Iran all the way sorted out. But we'll see. We'll see how that whole thing plays out. All right. Now, speaking about Iran, there were 8 women set to be executed who were not because of the U.S. intervention. Check it out.
I am emotional. I am very emotional. Look, for me, it's not about politics. It is about people that I have heard their voices. I have seen their faces. I have known them for years and years going to the streets simply protesting and demanding freedom. And being executed, being hanged, being killed for demanding freedom in 21st century, this is not acceptable. And that actually shows you pressure works. I have to.
Now, what the post from Trump says is very good news. I've just been informed that the 8 women protesters who were going to be executed tonight in Iran will no longer be killed. 4 will be released immediately and 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. I very much appreciate that Iran and its leaders respected my request as president of the United States and terminated the planned execution. And thank you for the attention to the matter, President Trump.
Say that my sources, my team has been working really hard. They confirmed at least Bita Hemmati and her husband. Let me just tell you their story because it's not just name and numbers. A couple full of life. They are in love. Both of them, they went to the street. These are the people that actually, the woman was in Trump's list. So they were sentenced to death. Now, the Iranian regime backed down. I read the news on Iranian website. I couldn't believe them. Now, President Trump said that actually this is something the Iranian regime showed it when Navid Afghari was on the death row because of pressure, international pressure. The Islamic Republic publicly announced that they stopped the execution, but month later they executed Navid Afghari, the Iranian well-known athlete, wrestler. So I'm here to say that President Trump, do not trust the Islamic Republic. We need to watch them.
All right, there's more, but you get the idea. Shout out to President Trump for making that happen, for stopping the planned execution of 8 women in Iran. 4 were released right away, and then 4 will do 1 month in prison. Fantastic. Already making a difference over there in that particular part of the world. And people have been asking for it for a long time, to free Iran from the Islamic regime, and that is what's happening right now. Hopefully we can get that done pretty quick. Now, on 60 Minutes, they put out an episode about how we acted just in time before they got a nuclear bomb. And if the Iranians got their hands on the nuke, it would have been a disaster. It would have been a calamity for the whole world. It would have been real bad if they got a nuke and used that. Again, this is going to be 60 Minutes, CBS.
UN inspectors believe Iran has close to 1,000 pounds of uranium enriched to 60%, nearly ready to be used in a nuclear weapon.
I cannot show the video because it's 60 Minutes and I do copyrights.
970 pounds of 60% highly enriched uranium. What can you do with that?
So that is enough material for, if you enrich it just a little bit more, for 10 to 11 nuclear bombs. Iran has been lying about its nuclear weapons effort for over 20 years now. They have always claimed our program was 100% peaceful. We were never pursuing nuclear weapons. That's a lie. And then once the international inspectors got in and started finding some things out, the Iranians kept lying to them.
UN inspectors believe Iran has close to one.
All right, there we go. So if we did not intervene, there could have been a strike from the Iranians in that region, and it would have been a calamity. It would have been all bad. It would have been real bad. So are y'all buying that? Is it real? Is it not real? Y'all let me know. Now, this is going to be Reem Al-Hashimi, the UAE Minister of International Cooperation. Okay. And she went to ABC to speak about the Iranians striking UAE, because let's be clear, the Iranians are hitting Muslim countries predominantly. They're hitting Israel too, but they're hitting UAE by itself more than Israel. So let's watch this.
You have been attacked by Iran more than any other country. And we put together the numbers here. This is from the Gulf Research Center, and it shows, look at the numbers. I mean, you know them well. You have been attacked more than Israel, more than Saudi Arabia. Why has Iran aimed so much firepower at the UAE?
Thank you very much, John, for having me. Well, in 40 days, we were attacked a little over 2,800 with 2,800 missiles and drones. And for us, it's very clear that they've chosen to go down this path because we are everything that they're not. We're a model of economic prosperity. We have 200 nationalities that live there. We have religions and cultures from all around the world. We used our oil wealth to build an economic powerhouse. They used their wealth for nuclear programs that are nefarious, for missiles, drones, proxies, etc. So whereas we tried to become and have become an international, global, responsible player, they are a pariah state. And they wanted to break that model, but they underestimated our resolve.
So
there we go. So shout out to UAE. They are not fans of the Iranian regime, and they want them to be toppled. That's going to be the prevailing thought in that particular part of the world. And for the entire world, that's the prevailing thought, that Iran is the problem and they got to go. They got to go. If we all want to advance forward as human beings in this world, on this planet, then certain groups of us cannot continue to behave the way we're behaving. Okay. And the Iranians are one of them. Not just for us, not just for the people of Iran, but for the region. UAE, Saudi Arabia, they're all kind of sick and tired. Iraq, they're sick of the Iranians and their nonsense. All right. But shout out to her. Again, that was Reem Al-Hashimi, the UAE Minister for International Cooperation. Okay. Of course, not the prime minister or the president. They would never have a woman in the, that part of the world. But maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, now we talk about the Navy Secretary, John Phelan. He just got fired by Pete Hegseth. What I've read is that Hegseth and Phelan did not get along very well because Hegseth is the guy in charge and the other guy was not. You know how it is sometimes. Military is like you were older guy being told what to do by a younger guy and you don't want to do it. It could be that's kind of what was going on from what I was able to read. There could be more to the story, but I've only read that part. That Hegseth and Phelan did not get along because of the age difference.
Another breaking story tonight, a shakeup at the Pentagon, another one, the Navy Secretary departing his post. What do we know?
Yeah, the Pentagon spokesman just announced Navy Secretary John Phelan is departing the administration effective immediately, saying, quote, "We wish him well in his future endeavors." It was not immediately clear from this post if he resigned or was fired, but Fox News has learned in the last few moments that he was fired. He had a very close relationship, apparently, with Donald Trump Jr. and just hosted a bridal shower for his fiancée this past weekend in Palm Beach. Phelan was confirmed by the Senate just over a year ago. Undersecretary Hung Cao is to assume the role of acting secretary. This marks the 34th military officer that Secretary Hegseth has fired since taking over the agency, Brett.
All right, there we go. So shout out to Pete Hegseth. Hopefully that was the right decision. Hopefully you did the right thing and we can perform better as a country. Now, the Undersecretary for the Navy, Hung Cao, will be the acting Secretary of the Navy. Okay. Now, here's a little bit about him. This is an older video. And if you were wondering, he is Vietnamese. Check it out.
This is the scariest sound you will hear when you live in a communist country. This is the last sound my parents heard when their fathers were taken away in the middle of the night, and they never saw their loved ones again. That's the sound of losing your freedom, the sound of always living in fear. That's my family's real life story. We escaped from Vietnam just days before Saigon fell to the communists. We were given a new life in the most generous country on earth. America saved my life. I graduated from the United States Naval Academy. I earned a master's in physics and fellowships at MIT and Harvard before the left replaced merit with racial quotas. I spent my life trying to repay my debt to America, my country, our country, with 25 years of service in Navy Special Operations, combat in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Somalia. But now our country has taken...
All right, there we go. So that's Hung Cao. He was the undersecretary under Phelan, and now since Phelan has been fired, he is the acting secretary of the Navy. So shout out to him. Congrats. Shout out to the Vietnamese people. Fantastic people. Like I said before, Southeast Asian people, they're fantastic from my experience. You know, shout out to the Vietnamese. Hey, y'all food though? Hey, y'all food is something else. And y'all get to drinking and Hennessy and all that. I know about y'all. Shout out to the Viet. Y'all some of the best people in the world. But anyway, Hung Cao, again, the now acting secretary of the Navy, and he may become a secretary officially. Okay, let's keep on going. And shout out to the immigrants who appreciate this country for what it is, and they really want to contribute and give back. We need more guys like that, rather than the Somalis want to come over here and steal and do all kind of ridiculous things. Let's get more of the Hung Caos rather than Ilhan Omar. How about that? Okay, UFOs. This is going to be Anna Luna. Hold on. Do I want to show her? Hold on. I've shown her quite a bit. Let's show Eric Burleson, House Rep Eric Burleson, talking about the UFOs. All right. And I hope we get disclosure pretty soon here. And we got that movie coming out. It'd be great if we can have disclosure at the movie. You know, it'd be funny if we had a LA premiere of the Stephen King Disclosure movie. And right during the premiere, you get this big football field to come down from the sky. That'd be crazy. But anyway, let's watch this again. This is going to be House Rep Eric Burleson talking about the aliens, UFOs, and whatnot.
We want the American people to see these videos. The American people deserve to know.
What do you think their reaction will be once they see them, having seen them yourself?
I think that we have a lot of footage that's similar to the gimbal video. We have footage that's similar to the Go Fast. There's some that are in pretty good clarity. I've seen a metallic silver orb that's about the size of a beach ball in very, very clear imagery. And then you're seeing there's some videos of immediate acceleration of a flying object, and that's not something that you would. It just defies any normal propulsion or physics. We want the American.
All right, there we go. So I hope we get those things. Hope we can really see them in 4K. I want to see like real pictures. Like show me some real stuff. And they said there's also one craft that is too big to move, so they built a building around it. It was that big. And I don't know where it's at. They said it's in a different country, a different place. Some said it could have been in Antarctica. Some said it could have been in China. I don't know. There are some pyramids that exist that have been covered up by land, by grass and by dirt and grass. They try to cover it up that way so nobody goes prying to see what's underneath. All right, let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Let's keep going.
The FBI.
Now, this is about those 10 scientists. I've covered this before on the live stream in the video, but this is another video. I'm not sure who this is, but shout out to her. 10 scientists missing, but really some would say 11 if they include Amy Eckerland, I believe her name is, but that one was from a few years ago. That was from 2022. The 10 are missing from last year to this year.
The FBI is now spearheading a probe into the 10 deaths and disappearances of scientists and staff who work at highly sensitive nuclear and aerospace technology laboratories around the country. So this has been getting a lot of attention. We dug into the cases. We found 5 deaths, including murders. One man, his body was pulled out of a lake recently in Massachusetts. We also found 5 disappearances. 4 of them in New Mexico, 1 in California. That scientist in California was working on cutting-edge technology at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California, working with NASA, and she disappeared while on a hike. She's not the only one who disappeared while on hikes. A retired general in the Air Force walked off into the wilderness, according to his wife. She posted on Facebook about it. This case has gotten a ton of attention because he briefly was associated with a group trying to pressure the government to release files about UFOs. So as you can imagine, lots of conspiracy theories swirling around. We've dug into these cases, have not found any link between them at this point, but the FBI is now on the case.
All right, there we go. So we're going to see if there's anything to it. We'll see if there's anything to it. I mean, Trump, again, before said that they'll look into it, they'll investigate. It could be a coincidence or it could be foreign actors. I've heard those two things. Now, speaking about Trump and things that he has said, someone who was a big proponent of Trump does not like what he's saying nowadays, and he is apologizing for ever having supported President Trump. Give me 1 second, and there we go.
And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
And I want to say I'm sorry.
Okay, I mean, look, Tucker Carlson, you may not like President Trump's direction. You may not like his presidency, but I have no regrets. I have no regrets for voting for President Trump. I have no regrets for voting for him, and the things that are happening right now, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It's no problem. It's all good. Now, I think his thing is this whole thing with Israel and all of that. Like, that's going to be a losing battle every time, in my humble opinion. It's a losing battle. And it's weird because some of these guys, they were the biggest Israel defenders, and now they're not. It's like, well, what changed? What happened? What's the difference between then and now? You getting that money from the Qataris. The Qataris, they're cool with it too. The Qataris cool with it. Everybody cool with it. You just not, though, but I don't understand why. I don't understand why. It's weird. But you can have your opinion, and that's fine. But like I said in my one video about all the influencers, all the MAGA influencers, or the former MAGA influencers, if you have changed and your belief system is fine, but I don't think that your following that came to you when you were supporting President Trump and had a different ideology, I don't think they're all going to stay with you and keep rocking on with the content if it is wildly different than the way it was. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm incorrect. Okay, now, Abigail Spamberger, redistricting. I'm going to do a video on this, actually, because this is a question I'm getting quite a bit about the Virginia gerrymandering, also known as redistricting. Now, let me see if I can find the map right quick that shows it, so you can see just how bad the gerrymandering is. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. So here is the redistricting map. And did this actually, hold on. Let me see if it passed. Okay. Is it still going on? Or is it over with? I think it's over with, because I think it was yesterday. Anyway, I'm going to get more into that a little bit later, but here's the map. Okay, so you can see what it is right now on the left. Okay, that will give you a more even distribution. This area up here, that blue area, is heavily populated. 1/3 of the entire state lives up here. Maybe someone like that's Loudoun right there. Maybe some of that right there. Very populated, but definitely right here, because that is DC. Right there, that's like where DC used to be. And right over this is the Potomac River. Then you have DC right there, and then Maryland. So that is very heavily populated. 1/3 of the entire population of the state is right here. Out here, it's more sparse. Once you get past this right here is seven city area. This is like Richmond, Petersburg, Emporia, all of that. Fredericksburg, I-95 corridor, all of that is like right there. Okay. Once you get past here, it's a lot more sparse. Farmville and places like this out here. This is like Roanoke, Blacksburg, all of that. Radford down here. Once you get way over here, this is like straight country. This is like West Virginia up here. And this all this border right here is West Virginia to the west. So that's pretty country, pretty rural, pretty conservative leaning. But they want to get this new map where the majority of the state is blue. And look at this little crazy little fishtail right there. That's going to be Roanoke, I believe, right there. Okay, they're trying to connect Roanoke to, like, I guess that's Charlottesville or something right there, which is crazy because it's not the same place at all. It's a mountain right there. It's like Charlottesville in this area. So they want to kind of cut right around that and then bring it all the way to like Lynchburg and Roanoke. So what you want to do is vote against this, but because the Democrats want to just stranglehold the state and they want to put more seats in the U.S. House, they want to straight up gerrymander while they accuse us of gerrymandering on the right. It is them who always gerrymander on the left. Look at California, the way that is. Look at most of the maps across the nation and ask yourself who is gerrymandering. And if you don't know what that term means, basically gerrymandering is writing maps, or in this case, redistricting the maps to fit your political party over the other, rather than serving the needs of the constituents. That's what's going on. So did they block it? Okay, that's good. I'm glad they blocked it. I am glad they blocked it. No, they didn't block it, actually. They approved a map that would give the Democrats 4 more House seats. Yeah, they didn't block it. Here it is right here. And I may do a video about this. Hold on. Virginia passes gerrymandered House map, lifting Democrats' midterm chances. The state's voters approved a map that could give Democrats 4 more House seats, putting the party on even more footing in the nation's redistricting war. Now, when they say it could, these places are likely to go Democrat, although they may not. But it could. It's probably likely that they will. So you can see the yes pass, 51% to 49% of the vote. Quite a big turnout. So there was a lot of money spent on this election. 1.57 million for yes, 1.48 million for no. And that's pretty much the Democrat-Republican split in the state, I would say, in 2026. When I was younger, it was not that way, but right now it is. For sure. The Supreme Court approved it. Oh, okay. Hold on. Did the Supreme Court block it? Let me just see. Now I know I got to do a video because I got to get all my facts together. So, Supreme Court blocks Virginia map. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So the Virginia judge blocks redistricting referendum from being certified. A Virginia judge blocked the state from certifying the results of Tuesday's congressional map referendum, deeming the referendum and the bill that triggered it as unconstitutional, according to the judge's order issued on Wednesday. Virginia's current Attorney General, Jay Jones, confirmed 7 News on Wednesday that his office would appeal the decision. And Jay Jones, of course, is stone cold left. The order, according to officials, came from the Tazewell Circuit. Yeah, Tazewell, which previously blocked referendum after repeatedly deeming the vote and resolution for the referendum unconstitutional, citing what Republicans cited. Okay. It's going to be in court, but ultimately they're not going to succeed, in my humble opinion. Tazewell, they ain't really going to be able to do nothing. The problem with Virginia is Northern Virginia, where all the power is. Tazewell, that's like West Virginia. That's like Bluefield. Like, y'all ain't gonna be able to do nothing. We'll see if it is upheld, if that block is upheld. If the appeal fails, we shall see. But as of right now, the referendum did pass 51-49. And as it stands today, barring any final decision from a court, maybe it'll go to the Supreme Court. Low court might fight about it. It could go to the Supreme Court. If it goes to the Supreme Court, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But as of right now, the way it stands, I think that it might stand. It might stand, but we'll see. We shall see. All right, let's keep on. We got a few more things to get to. But here is a little bit about that from CNN. They can become West Virginia. Well, I don't think that'll happen because West Virginia is blocked off by the mountains. That's the reason why it is West Virginia. It's blocked off by those mountains. It's passable, but it's not. I think West Virginia has natural boundaries. What could happen is Virginia breaks off from Virginia. Another 1863 secession, but no Civil War this time. And just say, okay, you guys want to be your own thing? What you should do up there in the DC area is become Northern Virginia, and we'll just be Virginia. You guys can have your 51st state, but the trade-off is we're not going to be controlled by you nut jobs up there in DC anymore. It's a thought. It's a thought.
People of Virginia ought to vote no on this, if for no other reason than their radical governor flat lied to them. She told them during her campaign she had no interest in partisan gerrymandering. She wasn't going to push this. And it's the very first thing that she did. When I hear Barack Obama say, oh, this will be a temporary redistricting, all I can hear is Barack Obama saying, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. He lied then. He's lying now. If the Democrats take this map from 6-5 in a 50-50 state to a 10-1 map and put every congressional district under the control of a Democrat who lives in Fairfax County in Northern Virginia, it will be a travesty. It will be a tragedy for a state that has had a tradition of being a very balanced, kind of a bipartisan, nonpartisan state, and it's going to be run by radical Democrats forever. There'll be nothing temporary about this. I'm just arguing that they lied to the people of Virginia about it. The governor, Spamberger, who ran as a moderate, I'm a normal moderate person, and I have no interest in all this partisan politics. I'll never gerrymander your state. That's what she said, and now she lied. And now they're trying to go from a 6-5 map to a 10-1 map. There is not a single fair thing about it, and there won't be a temporary thing about it either.
All right, there we go. There's more, but you get the idea of what's happening with the Virginia, the Virginia gerrymandering, redistricting, whatever you want to call it out there. Hopefully the courts block it and it doesn't go through, but we shall see. We shall see. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling here. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Now, where we at? So, Spirit Airlines is facing bankruptcy, and there's a potential bailout to the tune of $500 million from the federal government, potentially. There could be a bailout or it could be a buyout. Another company could purchase them. There could be a merger. Something must happen or Spirit Airlines will go bankrupt, taking 14,000 jobs with them. Now, Caroline Leavitt says it is the Biden administration's fault for this being a thing right now because they blocked a merger that they wanted to do during his time in office. Check it out.
Another topic. There's been some reporting about a possible bailout for Spirit Airlines. Can you update us on those talks? And why does the administration think it's a good investment to buy into a bankrupt airline?
Well, I understand the airline is bankrupt because the previous administration blocked the merger, which was probably not a wise move. Obviously, this is something the Commerce Department and the President are tracking. I don't have any updates or announcements, but the aviation industry is very important to this President and this White House. Millions of Americans depend on it. We want to see the best possible outcome, but I don't have any announcements today.
All right, there we go. So shout out to Caroline Leavitt, our fantastic White House press secretary, stating the obvious that the Biden administration made some mistakes that we are now having to clean up and deal with. Okay, where else we at here? So here is a story about Spirit potentially having to go bankrupt and maybe getting a bailout from the feds. This is going to be CBS News. And by the way, they're saying that the CBS News guy, what's his name? Tony Ducopoli. Hold on, what's his name? Tony Doko Op-Il. Bro, these names. Tony D, how about that? Like you in Italian. Hey, Tony D. Anyway, this guy, they're saying he's not doing very well, that he's not getting really good ratings. Hold on. Let me see if I can show him right quick. Yeah, they're saying he's not doing very well. He's not getting very good ratings. But I don't know. I like his show. His nightly show. I like watching some of his clips and whatnot. They say he's like a MAGA coded, as a cool kid say, MAGA coded. I see him as being more of a neutral kind of, clean face. It's like typical TV white guy, TV news anchor desk white guy, but he's good. Okay. Moderate tone, not too over the top, deliver the news straight. I like him, but they say that his show is not doing very well. Now, do you guys think it's because of Bari Weiss? Bari Weiss, if you guys know, has become the head honcho over there at CBS News. And by the way, Bari, you're doing a great job. If you can hear my voice, you're doing a fantastic job over at CBS News. Keep up the good work. But they link Bari Weiss to being conservative. So there could be some hit pieces on her that could affect his performance on air. But I think he's a good anchor. What do y'all think? Y'all let me know. Anyway, here he is, I believe, talking about Spirit Airlines and that whole kerfuffle with the potential bailout and their impending bankruptcy if there's no action taken. Check it out.
The Trump administration is in advanced discussions with Spirit Airlines over a bailout worth up to $500 million, staving off the twice bankrupt carrier's liquidation and keeping its planes flying, according to sources familiar with the negotiations.
Well, that's not his voice, but it's somebody on his program. Let me just start from the top so I don't interrupt, okay?
The Trump administration is in advanced discussions with Spirit Airlines over a bailout worth up to $500 million, staving off the twice bankrupt carrier's liquidation and keeping its planes flying, according to sources familiar with the negotiations.
A lot of people work for Spirit. We care about the people that work for Spirit in this industry.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy told us Tuesday no decision had been made, but acknowledged time was short.
The question will be, can we do anything to save Spirit and make it viable? Or would we be putting good money into a company that inevitably is going to be liquidated?
In exchange, the government would get warrants to purchase up to 90% of an airline that hasn't made a profit since 2019 and projects it will lose nearly $200 million this year. Spirit was once solidly profitable but has struggled since the pandemic, a situation worsened by the recent surge in jet fuel prices despite aggressive cost cutting.
It is a small, shrinking, irrelevant airline that cannot make money in today's paradigm.
Brian Summers tracks airline financials for the Airline Observer. What's in it for taxpayers?
There is not a lot in this for taxpayers. Sometimes airlines are just unsavable, and that appears to be the case here.
A CBS News data review found when an ultra-low-cost carrier like Spirit exits a route, fares tend to increase. United CEO Scott Kirby was asked about the negotiations.
I don't think this crisis is anywhere near big enough to cause the need for an airline bailout.
Now, Spirit says it hopes to be profitable as soon as next year, but that really depends on jet fuel prices. Bailing out a single U.S. airline would be extremely rare, if not unprecedented. Spirit declined to comment other than to say the airline is operating normally. Tony?
All right, Chris, thank you very much.
All right, there we go. So shout out to them over there at CBS News. What do y'all think? Should we bail out Spirit? Now, like I said, they said it toward the end. I said the same thing at the beginning of the stream, that if we don't bail out Spirit, you're going to have higher ticket prices because that low-cost carrier will be like usually the lowest price. Without the low-cost carrier, you're going to have higher prices. Ultimately, that's going to be the bottom line. In order for Spirit to be saved without a bailout, they're going to need higher prices. But the way they compete is with low prices. So that's going to kill their whole business model. So ultimately, they may not be able to be saved. But should we try? Get them like $500 million. They're going to lose $200 million this year. So if they give them $500 million, how long until they can turn it around and not lose that much money in a year? If you get them $500 million right now and they lose $200 this year and next year, and after that, if we give them money, will they be able to invest in the ways that will prevent them from losing more money than what they might lose right now? And then into the future, I don't know, but we'll see. But like I said, if they can't be saved, you will pay more for your ticket prices. Ultimately, that's going to be the bottom line, especially since there's no low cost carrier to compete with. Hey, I'm Delta. I'm going to charge $700 for a flight. Hey, you want to go from Atlanta to Miami? Okay, I'm going to need that $250 on GP. Matter of fact, I'm going to need that $600. Yeah. Well, Miami might be a little bit different. It's kind of a high travel flight. Yeah, rather than the 115 you might have been paying, I'm gonna need that whole 250, 275. You're gonna book 3 months out, I'm gonna still need that. It is what it is. All right, let's keep on going. Now, speaking about airplanes, 2 planes almost collided on the 20th. Like this was on Monday at JFK. And what are the airlines? I'm not really sure what the airlines are, but you can see their flight path right here. So I guess they were trying, I don't know, one was trying to land, other was trying to take off. I don't know what was going on, but you can see they almost intersected right here. Okay, so if they would have kept going, then it would have eventually crossed paths. But there was a sharp turn from this plane to avoid the other one. You see? That plane kept on the straight path, but the other one had to veer off to prevent hitting that one straight on. Hey, you know what? There are, I don't want to say often, but more times than what you may know, there's close calls in the air that you have no idea about. It didn't make the news. It's not anything that's talked about. They're not going to tell you over the intercom system that it's happening, but it could happen, and you don't know about it. So shout out to the pilots who are avoiding tragedy. Now, SPLC, that is a Southern Poverty Law Center. The SPLC was founded many years ago in Alabama with the express purpose of providing legal services to poor people, poor blacks, whites, whatever. But now I'm not sure what they are. Are they just like an organization trying to track white supremacists with this endowment money, paying informants? I'm not really sure what their purpose is. Maybe they still do the ultra low cost services. I don't really know. But the SPLC has been indicted by a federal grand jury for money laundering, conspiracy to commit money laundering, wire fraud, and bank fraud. Here is Lowen Berbert talking about what's happening.
All right, America.
And RIP to the headphone users. My eardrum is totally finished after that. Let's start from the top.
All right, America, listen up. Yesterday, a grand jury of 15 to 20 American citizens concluded that there is a fair probability the Southern Poverty Law Center was funneling money to the very extremist organizations they claim to oppose. It's pretty clear that as racism has declined in America over the last 75 years, the SPLC has had to create new issues to stay relevant. So they target Christians, they target Americans who believe in 2 genders, and it appears they were actually funding racists to do actual racist things so they could fundraise off of it. Take Charlottesville, where the SPLC paid $270,000 to a Unite the Right rally leader. And after the rally, they received $81 million in new revenue. Just another conspiracy theory the right was right about. Every single organization in America still writing checks to the SPLC cut them off immediately. No more funding hate for profit. Thank God the Trump DOJ is holding them accountable.
All right. Now, the thing about the SPLC, the allegations that come from people like Lauren and many others is that they were funding these riots, but that's not what the indictment says. The indictment says money laundering, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit, it was conspiracy to commit money laundering, wire fraud, bank fraud. And that stems from them paying the informants improperly because there were shell companies set up and they were hiding the transactions that way. Now, the SPLC would say we did that to protect the identity of the informants because they get quite a bit of death threats. The government says you can't do that. You got to do it a certain way. If you're going to have these informants infiltrate these places, you got to pay them properly. So that's the allegation from the indictment. The issue that you got to prove if you want to say did something really wrong, because just the wire fraud, that ain't nothing. They could just pay a fine and be done with it. And they got the money. They said $3 million was spent over the course of like 9 years, but they got an endowment of like $822 million. They made $106 million in donations in 2024 alone. So they have almost $1 billion in the bank, and they getting like $100 million every year in donations. So if this is a court case that becomes a battle, the SPLC is going to win, and the money they raise from the court battle, even if they lose, they win. If they lose, at best, it'll be a fine. They're going to raise money on that. They're going to say they're being targeted by the MAGA administration, by the drunk Kash Patel, and raise more than they did from the Unite the Right. That'd be record-breaking fundraising. And the rally, in my humble opinion, raised so much money because the media hyped it up. The good people on both sides lie that the media push. People still believe it. People still to this day believe that Trump said that there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville with no other, with no qualifier. He said on that same podium that same day, not the next day, not years later, that same day, he said there were good people on both sides, but the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, I condemn them totally. If you tell somebody that right now, 2026, who was told the first thing, they ain't even going to believe it. You could show them video. That's AI. Oh, from 2015. Oh, okay. Show them the video. They ain't going to believe it. That, in my opinion, is why there was so much money raised from that particular situation. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. They publicized all these riots, made it be a race thing. CNN was so bloodthirsty. They were out there with a camera before it happened. Like, all right, set it off. It was so bad. Before any riots happened, they were already right there. It was to the point where they might as well throw a bomb and get it started and then film it. That's what the media did. So the SPLC, they suck. They're not a good organization. But if you want to take them down, you got to go about it in a different way. Trying to say that they did not pay them money properly, that ain't going to be nothing. They're going to still operate, and they're going to still have their confidential informants, the same as everybody else does that has NGOs, and the same as the federal government does. The federal government has a really big budget. The federal government pays confidential informants $500 million a year. $500 million a year paid to informants from the federal government, doing the exact same thing the SPLC does. And again, I'm no fan of SPLC, but I got to be fair here. And if it is alleged that the SPLC paying informants is stoking racism and hatred, then so is the federal government under the Trump administration right now. And I don't believe that, so I can't believe what the SPLC is accused of doing. The only way I'd be able to believe it is if you can tell me that the SPLC was staffing people to go out there and create all of the problems that you see. If they were staffed to go out there and create the Unite the Right rally. Furthermore, that rally, me being from Virginia, I know guys who went to that rally in 2017 in Charlottesville. I've been in Charlottesville before. I know where the area is. I know about the campus. I know about the statue and about the whole thing. The original purpose of the protest or the gathering was a statue of Robert E. Lee on the campus of UVA. Was Robert E. Lee or Jefferson? I think it was Robert E. Lee. It was a statue. Should the statue go or should it stay? This is during the whole statue war situation. Back when you had these Confederate general statues in the most random places, you probably didn't even know it was there. Everybody was trying to fight to get the statues removed. Personally, I say keep the statues right where they are, because don't forget where you come from. Don't forget your history. Keep the statues right where they are. Don't move them. That's what I would say. Because now it's like we're removing the nose from the Sphinx. Keep things the way it was so we know what it was. So we know what history was. Why not? I don't feel intimidated or scared of a statue. That statue can do nothing to me at all. So I don't feel intimidated. I would have said keep the statue there. So those who were there for that reason, the statue, there were good people on both sides of that particular discussion. When it comes to the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists, they came after as an add-on. That's the truth. Now, I will say this. Any white supremacist group, any right-leaning group, anything that could be considered somewhat conservative or somewhat extreme, even if it's not, if it is considered that way, you must presume that the feds are going to be there in the mix, or it'd be a private company in the mix. Just like you need to presume that if you're on a date with a young lady in Washington, D.C., or a man, some of y'all know y'all get down. If you're on a date in D.C. and they're asking questions about what you do not start pillow talking. Do not start blabbing at the mouth, because it's probably Project Veritas. I've been to some of these events where I could tell it's feds there, or it's certain groups there who have nefarious intentions, trying to get dirt on you, asking you weird questions. I've seen it. And there's certain people that you guys see all the time and you don't know who it is or what they do. I've seen them in person, and what they are there for, in my opinion, is to intelligence gather. Are they federal agents? Is it some non-governmental organization? It could be a regular guy who just has some money, who's in the mix, and he has his own personal vendetta against you. You never know. So my point is, the higher you go up in these organizations, these government adjacent organizations, there will be federal agents, NGOs, spies, all of that. Shout out to Eric Swalwell and Yum Yum. But anyway, let's keep on going. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Okay. Now, speaking about O'Keefe Media Group and the spies and whatnot, U.S. Nuke Chief Andrew Hugg got a little bit too mouthy, got a little bit too, happy at the date, and told on himself. Okay, this is going to be Project Veritas. Well, pardon me. This is going to be, Citizen Journalism Foundation.
He might kill the next guy, the son. If he does this famous way that did everything killed. We're gonna shoot missiles and destroy some stuff. Yeah. But if you want to win, if you want to make the country do what you want, you have to put people there.
I was hearing something that we killed kids in car. Did we actually?
There's been some collateral damage, yeah, for sure. They always die in war. Yeah. So nerve agent is a chemical weapon. It's like Pandora's box.
A nuclear and chemical safety branch chief in the United States Department of the Army spills detailed information about their possession of nerve agents.
And lungs won't work, your mouth won't work.
Hold on, are they back together now? Wait a minute. I saw the background. We got Veritas, OMG, O'Keefe Media Group. Okay. Are they back together? Did they make up? Aw.
About their possession of nerve agents.
And lungs won't work, your mouth won't work, nothing will work.
Revealing that a U.S. Army chemist was exposed to the nerve agent due to careless handling.
She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore Crocs and her own clothes. Yeah. And so it's soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
Then goes on to reveal intimate details about the U.S. nuclear arsenal.
So you said there's missiles underground.
Bro, you're giving out locations of where missiles are, to a random girl on a date? Sir, come on now. You cannot do stuff like that. See, like I said, be aware who you're talking to and what you're saying, because that could be a spy. Thank God it was James O'Keefe in them, and it was not China, Russia, Iran. And some of them Iranian ladies, they 5'7", pretty. You won't know what to do. You tell her anything that she wanted to tell you, that she wanted to get from you. And 1 hour later, Allahu Akbar, all in your apartment. Anyway, here is about that person that we just saw being placed on leave after that video came out from James O'Keefe and company.
A senior Army official entrusted with oversight of America's nuclear arsenal has been placed on administrative leave by the Pentagon and may face criminal prosecution following a video sting operation by the O'Keefe Media Group. Newsmax chief Washington correspondent James Rosen is joining us now with a look at the comments caught on tape that landed this official in hot water. Good afternoon, James.
Bianca, good afternoon to you. A spokesperson for War Secretary Pete Hegseth referred Newsmax to a statement that the Army issued yesterday. It confirmed that nuclear scientist Andrew Hugg, the Army's branch chief for chemical nuclear surety, a post focused on the safety and security of the Army's chemical and nuclear weapons components, has indeed been placed on leave pending additional investigation. In a pair of meetings in noisy restaurant settings with an unidentified woman who it turns out was employed by the O'Keefe Group and who was surreptitiously recording the encounters, Hug appears to divulge classified information in a range of areas, from ongoing use of nerve agents to war planning in Iran. 2 segments of the video apparently capture Hug disclosing to his young female interlocutor at least 4
His interlocutor, hey, I'm going to use that one. His young female interlocutor. I got to use that one. Thank you for the vocabulary word, sir.
Locations of underground nuclear missiles and critical aspects of the launch process under which they could be fired off in the event of a nuclear conflict.
Yeah, you might not want to do that, sir. You might not want to give out the nuclear missile locations, which is not necessarily public knowledge. You might not want to do that. I'm just saying, especially if you don't know her, kind of a stranger. Bro, that could have been that could have been an Iranian. It could have been a Russian. It could have been anybody. Anyway, let's keep on going here. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Okay, now where we at? Hold on. Okay, y'all give me 1 second. If you like what you're hearing so far, I know what to do. Please give the video a thumbs up. But okay, I had to get that one. And where we at? So Kalshi. Okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting story. Kalshi has fined and suspended 3 politicians for betting on their own races. Now, look, if you have a gambling problem, please seek help because it's serious out here. It really is. A lot of y'all got gambling issues and don't even know it. Please seek help. You don't want to be running for office or in office betting on your own race. You don't want to do that. Bet on a basketball game. Bet on a horse race. Don't bet on your own race.
We're following breaking news just in a CNN prediction market site. Kalshi just suspended 3 political candidates from its platform for betting on their own campaigns. The company accused the trio of political insider trading. CNN senior reporter Marshall Cohen is here with more. Marshall, what are you learning?
Yeah, Boris, they are calling this political insider trading, and let me explain why. This is the prediction site Kalshi, where you can bet on almost anything from sports, entertainment, even the weather and elections, and that's what happened here. According to Kalshi, 3 candidates running for federal office bet on their own campaigns in violation of company rules, which of course brings into question the integrity of the market, but also the election. Let me read for you a quote from the head of enforcement for Kalshi, Robert Denault. He said, announcing this today, regardless of the size of a trade, political candidates who can influence a market based off of whether they stay in or out of a race violates our rules. He went on to say any trade that is found to have violated the exchange's rules will be punished, and that's exactly what happened today. Fines levied against all 3 of these candidates and 5-year suspensions. But that's where Kalshi stopped, Boris. They did not refer this to the Justice Department for investigation. If you're wondering why, the legal experts that I spoke to said that the technical definition of insider trading can be pretty narrow, and this probably would fall outside of the line.
Interesting.
And of course, I should point out, for the record, CNN has a partnership with Kalshi. We use their data to cover major political and cultural events, but we don't use their prediction markets to bet.
All right, there we go. So, yeah, do y'all think that you should be able to vote on your own? Pardon me. Do you guys think you should be able to bet on your own election if you are like you're running for office? Okay, let's say I'm running for X, Y, and Z office. I bet on my own race. Now, you have insider knowledge of where you at in the race. You can pretty much predict your own fate better than anybody else could. You know where you are in the polls. You know what your opponent is like. You know your own race better than anybody. You know the chances of succeeding or failing better than anybody. So if you bet on yourself, that could be considered insider trading. Insider trading in the traditional sense is a thing that is allowed, I suppose, in Congress, but not if you're not in Congress. In general, if you have inside knowledge that the public is not privy to, and you are able to trade stocks on that knowledge, that is illegal. It's called insider trading. The Congress people do it, but they don't get in trouble, which is why this was not referred to the DOJ, because it wouldn't be any prosecution. Although it's against the Kalshi rules, it's not against the rules in the federal government, apparently. Anyway, it's a weird world. You know, it's weird when you got sugar babies getting suspended, but you can insider trade all day long, and that's fine. All right. So shout out to Kalshi. Shout out to all of them for, you know, making that happen. Okay, hold on. Where we at? What do I want to show? Oh, here we go. Welfare, the incentives to do nothing. Now, people, they say all the time, why can't we have more from the federal government? Why can't we have more of this, more of that, more services, more handouts, more gimmies? Because you remove the incentive to work. They're talking about universal basic income and stuff like this. I'm like, okay, if we all get UBI, then what will be the motivation to do anything? Who's going to do anything if everybody has money already? Maybe you get a UBI, and if you want to get more money, you can go out and do more. But ultimately, the more help, quote unquote, you get from the government, the less likely you are to go out there and help yourself. Okay, let's watch this.
Have you ever wondered why
And RIP to the headphone users. Let me get a little bit less sound right there. Let's start from the top.
Have you ever wondered why the problems in America seem to get worse instead of getting better? We don't have an economic problem in this country. We have an incentive problem. The systems meant to serve as safety nets for hard times have become full-on lifestyles for certain people. Over the last 50 years, the amount of Americans receiving SNAP benefits has doubled from 6% in 1975 to over 12% in 2025. In 1960, only 9% of American households were single-parent households, and in 2025, over 25% of all households are single-parent households. In 1970, America spent $74 billion on healthcare, and in 2025, we spent over $5.6 trillion on healthcare, but Americans have never been less healthy. Why would you take a higher paying job when that means losing certain welfare benefits? Your rent is tied to your income, so it's the same for government housing. These systems almost punish you if you do better, instead of incentivizing less government dependence. So to fix our problems, we have to fix the systems and incentivize them. If the system rewarded people getting back on their feet, watch how quickly they'd stand up. Have you ever wondered why?
Right on. I'm with that. And you know what? The funny part is that I'm sorry for the freeze frame, young lady, but the thing that she's talking about as far as incentivizing work is what the migrants get, because they get all types of stuff for working. They get all kind of benefits. They say, okay, the migrants want to work. Okay, but they're also getting all types of benefits. They don't have to, they're not following the same rules that we are. They can drive a car with no license, no insurance, no nothing. Meanwhile, we got to have a license and we got to have insurance. And when they come with their crazy driving, rising the cost of insurance because of all the accidents they get in, we got to pay the insurance and we got to have licenses. And if we don't, then we get punished for that. They're able to work, have all these jobs, get welfare benefits, extra and beyond what we get. They are incentivized to work while we are not. So I think that if you want to use welfare benefits, if you want to have a welfare state or some semblance of it, the rewards should be given to those who produce things in society, who operate properly in society, rather than those who don't want to do anything at all. If you want to be a complete bump on the log and do nothing, then you should be given a stipend and sent to this brick house over there, this little brick apartment, 200 square foot. Live like that. It won't be totally ridiculously crazy, but it's not going to be glamorous. It's not going to be fantastic. Ain't no Section 8 property for you if you do nothing and don't work. It ain't going to be that. You're going to be living in a hovel at best. It'll be well maintained, but it's going to be a hovel. And if you want to work and you want to do things for society, you should get the reward for that, in my humble opinion. Yeah, let people work and then get more benefits as a result. Okay, now, this is an issue that is ongoing with the way that welfare fraud happens, or SNAP EBT fraud. There are stores all over the country set up fraudulently taking EBT benefits and exchanging the goods, not for groceries, not for things that are EBT compliant, but for things like drugs and guns.
Well, so the SNAP program
is administered as such where the federal dollars go to the states, and then the states will administer that to the recipients. So the recipients will get EPT cards where their benefits are loaded, and they'll go to a store, a retailer. It could be a convenience store, it could be a grocery store, it could be a gas station. If they apply to the USDA Food and Nutrition Service for eligibility to be an authorized store, and they meet the qualifications, they get an authorization to be a retail store. And then beneficiaries can come in and exchange their benefits for food. What happens in a trafficking situation is that they're not exchanging those benefits for food. They exchange it for cash and other items such as guns, drugs, and other ineligible items. Well,
exactly. That's a real thing that's going on. You got these stores, fake stores set up, and I know y'all seen it. It's an old play for real. That's not even a new thing. I know a guy went to jail for that. I know two guys that did that and went to jail. I know one guy specifically who did that and went to jail. He had a legitimate restaurant, but what he was doing was selling heroin out of that same restaurant, and it was in the same packages that he would get the food in. So you're trying to, sell your food items, and all right, you want to buy some food? Okay, here go this. Now, that wasn't necessarily the EBT scam, but it was the same thing. You're selling illegal things or things that you should not be selling for EBT benefits at a store that is designated as a store that would take EBT benefits. Okay, now look. If you don't want to work, if you kind of want to chill and you don't want to do certain labor jobs, eventually what will happen is you get these humanoid robots to take over. What is becoming the great aliens of the future? Who knows? But humanoid robots are already doing work right now in this world. Now, the purpose of this robot is to flip these packages over. Okay, it's just one job. Flip packages over. That's it. That's the only thing it's got to do. You're sorting packages. This is a humanoid robot. It's not a human being.
All right, I want to show you guys something really cool. We now have a new AI controller for robot balance, where traditionally, if we lost any of the joints in the lower body, we would fall. So we now have a new AI policy called Vulcan, where the robot can lose up to 3 actuators or joints in the lower body and still stay balanced and not fall. So let me show you, we're going to show you an example here, a live demonstration. Moritz, who led the project, is going to kill the right knee. Let's kill it. Done. So now the robot has no right knee. What we want to see happen is we want to see the robot limp off into service. There we go. So now the robot is going to head to the repair and maintenance lab to get checked out. Nice. All right, nice work, Moritz.
There we go. So look, if you are working at the station and your knee goes out, it's bon voyage. You're going to be on the ground. It's going to be a mess, ambulance, workman's comp, all of that. And in this case, the knee's out, no problem. And we just stop working, limp over here to get service. They patch me right on up, and I'm right back working. Hey, ain't gonna be no time off, no vacation, no holidays, no nothing. No meetings in HR, no nothing. I'm gonna get straight to the bag, straight to the business. And if I get injured, I'm gonna just get my body repaired as a robot. So that is here right now. And AI, robotics are advancing so quickly. As they get further into AI, the intelligence and the ability of it will exponentially increase. It'll be very quickly. It'll be very quick. The public consumer AI has been around for a very short period of time. 2 or 3 years? I don't know. It's been a very short period of time. Every iteration of AI will be dramatically bigger and better than the previous. So we'll see how it goes. No cigarette breaks, no lunch. Hey, no cigarette breaks, no lunch, no nothing. As long as I got the robotics and everything, we're good. We're good. Okay, now,
first of all,
This is Jason and Brett Oppenheim. I don't know who these guys are, but they predict that AI could replace 90% of jobs in 20 years. 90%. And when I hear these kind of scenarios, it's kind of doomy and gloomy. Shout out CGA. It's kind of like that. And I'm thinking, okay, if 90% of the jobs are taken, then what will we do as human beings? Because we got to do something, some kind of purpose. If it ain't a job, then what is it? What are we going to do?
First of all, I think it's already starting, but I think from now through the next, 5 to 8 years, we'll probably see 50%. I wouldn't be surprised if we see within 10 years, 50% of the jobs in America gone. AI will replace all intellectual capital. Robotics combined with AI will replace all human physical labor. So
in 10 years?
I think within 10 years, it could be 50%. Within 20 years, probably 90%. So jobs, I mean, the intellectual jobs will go first. Lawyer, accountant.
Well, before that, you have the ones that are already getting hit right now, like customer service and the more like repetitive, monotonous intellectual jobs. Those are starting to be lost right now. Well, that's a little bit different, but yeah.
Well, tens of millions
next will be architecture, engineering, software engineering, coding, lawyers, accountants, all that stuff. That's in the next 3 years, probably 3 to 4 years.
And then once robotics takes over, I think you'll see more of the menial labor jobs getting replaced. It will be a while before the more technical labor jobs get replaced, like a plumber, because there's so much nuance to, getting into the side of a bathroom wall and.
But I would counter that to the extent that once you get, I don't think the problem is the nuance of being a plumber. I think the problem is making enough humanoid robots, which I think Elon is at the cutting edge of with the Optimus, and he's going to start putting them out probably next year as fast as he can. I actually think that the bottleneck will be the production of humanoid robots. It won't be the fact that plumbing is too difficult, because if you think about it, if there's 5,000 humanoid robots and they all plumb for 1 year, let's say, instead of having 1 year of experience of plumbing, they're all going to have 5,000 years of experience of plumbing, because they're all going to know everything that every other humanoid robot knows.
And they'll have read every book on plumbing ever written.
So they'll have fixed every problem within 1 year that a plumber could face in 5,000 years of plumbing. So I don't think that's necessarily the issue. I think the bottleneck will be the production of humanoid robots.
There we go. So, man, we'll see. I think the humanoid robot, for them to be able to do these manual labor jobs that require a little bit of creativity, I think we're not quite there yet, because you may be able to have the brain with the AI, with artificial intelligence, having the knowledge, but being able to understand some human things with the job, it might be a little difficult for them to get that anytime soon. But hey, like I said, each iteration of AI is exponentially greater than the previous. So we'll see. We'll see what we come up with pretty soon. Okay. All right. Now, this guy says that the AI job loss narrative is a lie, and the tech companies really just want to get more power. That's their whole thing. They want to get more power to power their business, more energy, I guess it would say, to power their businesses. Okay, let's see this. Let's see what he says. I've not seen this yet.
No one talks about this, but I think tech layoffs in the name of AI is a lie. If you work in AI infrastructure, you know that the real bottleneck is not new models or agents. It's energy and interconnection. Right now, a new data center coming online takes 7 years. The math just doesn't add up. We literally don't have the energy capacity to do the things that tech companies say they can do now because of AI. So that means there's two options. Either frontier labs really do have capabilities that I can't see yet inside of a hyperscaler, or this is a preemptive scapegoat in order to reallocate their capital into AI energy procurement. As an investor, I would be leery about the story that AI is automating jobs and that's why tech companies are laying off their employees. I think it's more about restructuring a balance sheet so that they can deploy capital into energy procurement. No one talks.
Okay. I mean, that's a good theory that they need energy, and they do need energy because data centers are expensive. They are power hungry, water hungry. They're all of that. So you're going to need energy sources to power the data centers. Now, the thing about that is I think that might be temporary, because remember the computing power you needed for this cell phone at one point could have filled an entire football field or more. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't have been possible many years ago. But if you had anywhere near the ability of what this can do, the computing power in this phone, if you had that in the 1970s or anywhere near it, it would have been big enough to be a data center. This could have been a data center in the 70s. And now we have AI advancing the intelligence of human beings and our ability to produce things a lot more. Plus, we have things that we don't know about from the federal government that are being rolled out to us. So within a few years, we could have advanced so quickly that what could have been a data center will now be this big. You see how it goes? And we exponentially just get more advanced to the point where you don't need so much energy to power up a data center or water, because things are a lot smaller, a lot more efficient, and a lot more powerful. But we'll see how it goes in the future. I think that right now they do need the energy to power the plants, but in the near future they won't need as much, because we're going to see a lot of advancement, which will reduce the size and the power draw for these data centers. And ultimately, it probably won't be a data center. It'll be a device where all your computing power lies for your AI. All right. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate you for rocking and rolling. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. Hold on. Do I have one more? Okay. Sean Duffy, Secretary of Confrontation, says 53% of commercial driver's licenses issued to foreigners in New York were issued illegally. Again, 53% of commercial driver's licenses, CDLs, issued to foreigners in New York were issued illegally. No surprise there. No surprise there at all. But let's watch. Oh, and speaking of commercial driving, they're trying to have automated trucks. I told y'all before, many years ago, I met a pilot who said they were trying to replace him. A pilot, an airplane pilot. I said, with what? He said, with AI. This is like 2017. We're almost 10 years later. I think they can replace truck drivers soon here. I'm not saying that I want that to happen. Shout out to all the truckers out there who watch me. But they may do that. Or if they can't replace you, they give you better trucks that perform better with the technology they have. I've seen that Tesla truck I think they have. It looks nice. I'm not sure how it does on the road, but it looks nice. Anyway. Oh, what they got to fix with these EVs, before I continue, and they got EV trucks, cars, whatever. What must be fixed are these lithium-ion batteries. Find a better way to power up these vehicles. Lithium-ion, that ain't really the permanent solution, in my humble opinion. But let's watch this. Again, Sean Duffy, Secretary of Treasury, talking about the CDLs in New York City.
We audited New York, in 53% of the licenses, commercial driver's licenses issued to foreigners, 53% were issued illegally, contrary to our rules. And so usually we give states 30 days to come into compliance. We gave New York 4 months to say, hey, what we want you to do is just go back and audit all of these licenses that you've given. And if you've given them contrary to the rules, we'll revoke that license. And in essence, New York said, go pound sand, DOT. And so this is the first step. We said, okay, we're going to pull the $73 million. There's more money that we can pull as we get to the out months. But in the very end, if New York doesn't comply, we can pull their ability to issue commercial driver's licenses. And it's not a New York issue. As you know, commercial drivers don't stay in New York. They drive across the country. And so you have a state with really good rules, say Oklahoma. These drivers from New York drive truck through Oklahoma and every other state. And so they endanger the families that are going to church like on a Sunday morning like today, or they're going to Walmart to shop. We've seen way too many videos of commercial drivers who can't read road signs like you mentioned. But also, we found a whole slew of fake schools. It's kind of like the Learning Center in Minnesota, where you pay them $1,000 to the school. There's no curriculum. There's no driver. They get a certificate that they pass the school when they don't know anything about commercial driving. By the way, these are 80,000-pound big rigs. And then they get on American roads. and they hurt the American people. There are the countless Americans that want to drive truck. These are great jobs. They support families, and instead we have illegals or foreigners getting these jobs, and they're hurting the American people. We are not going to tolerate it at DOT. President Trump said no more, and so we're following his lead to do all we can to get states to comply. One other point, Peter. I wish I had the power and control to take those licenses away in the federal government. I don't. We give this right to the states. So I have to work with the states and as a head of DOT federally to get them to comply with us. But I don't have that control. We've given it to governors and state DOTs, and these are the bad decisions that some of them are making.
That's right. Shout out to Sean Duffy out there, DOT. Get rid of the illegal aliens driving trucks. Give these truck driving jobs to American citizens. I don't see what's the problem with that. And when you give out a CDL, let's give it out legitimately. Let's not have these fake schools. Let's not steal money. These are very basic things that we must do in this country. But anyway, shout out to you guys. I appreciate you for rocking and rolling. Let's get to some calls here. It's almost the time is going fast. Hey, is it just me? I know I've said it before. I know I've asked the question before, but is it just me, or is time moving very fast? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Am I old? Is that what's happening? I don't know, but time is going like that. I just sat down and do this show, and now it's almost 11 o'clock. Like, how does that really work? Anyway, you got some calls to get to, and the number to call is 706-406-3287. Again, 706-406-3287. But first, do I have super chats? I believe that I do. Thank you to Boycott China, who says, hey, everyone, hope you're all well. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Salute ABL. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you to Dolores for your super chat. And thank you to Doe Eyes. Shout out to you, Doe Eyes, who says, LOL, glad you caught that out. ABL, blessings. That blessings to you as well. Thank you for your support. Okay, let's get to some calls. The number to call, again, 706-406-3287. The number is always in the description and the ticker below the video at a certain point. So check me out. All right. And again, shout out to you guys in the comments. Am I getting old texting Amiga? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why time is going so fast. It's like you start a day, you get to working and doing stuff, and you go here, you go there. You're talking on the phone for a minute, blowing my phone up. I got 2 or 3 phone calls, and before I know it, it's 11 o'clock. It's time to go to bed. It's like, how did that happen? It's weird. All right, ARBR downfall. I mean, AI is here, and I don't think that you could do much to really, I think we'd be okay. I think we'd be just fine. I'm not really too concerned. 828, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, what's up, ABL? This is Lindsay from Candler, North Carolina. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. About yourself?
I'm good. Oh, I better turn on this TV in the background. I'm listening to you right now. Yeah, man, I just wanted to say, I didn't know that New York, I know they're handing out CDL licenses across like the nation, or at least from the blue states and stuff. I knew for sure for California, but like, when are these people going to be held accountable? And I mean, like, truly, like the people that actually gave these away, can they get fired already? Can they is this just such a huge problem they'll never see a day in court? I mean, these are people who are knowingly doing the wrong thing all over the place. It's just overwhelming, and I feel sick to my stomach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what can happen. I don't know what will happen, but I think maybe there could be some people that really get held accountable, which is what I want. That's always what I want, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I love your show, man, and thanks for taking my call, and I hope you have an awesome night.
Thanks for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Peace.
All right, a shout out to the caller. Great call as always. And shout out to you guys again for rocking and rolling. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you're hearing so far, you know what to do. Get the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And y'all know I'm live each and every Wednesday and Saturday on the YouTubes. And I'm also live on Tuesday on the Instagrams. 910. You're on line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's going on, ABL? How you doing?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
All good. Hey, this your guy from Newport News, man. Bad news when I was younger.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, so I've been watching you, man, since COVID. You always bring valid points, unbiased, great conversation. I love it. That's why I'm on your live, right? I think you off by two topics tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, so one is the Kash Patel topic.
Okay, so what's your opinion about that?
Yeah. So to be honest, man, black, white, Hispanic, just certain traits, you'll see alcoholism. You'll see an alcoholic. I really never seen too many Indians as alcoholics. I haven't. When I say that is what I see from him is more burnout. I don't see the alcoholism that you were saying.
Okay.
Now, when I say the burnout, in his position, he's 46, 47, you pointed out?
Yeah, 46.
Yeah, in that position, being young, in that position, there's a lot of red tape. So when you have passion for a job and you're doing everything that you believe that you're doing right, but you're hit with red tape, I can see the burnout effect. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so the alcoholism, I think, probably would have been addressed at the FBI level before mainstream media. A disgruntled employee or someone who does not like him may have brought that up beforehand. You see what I mean?
Yeah, now, to be fair, they said they got 24 sources from the article.
Yeah, and that's a good point, right? But why go to the media when every federal agency has a reporting process, due process? So if I'm an employee with the FBI, I don't like you as my leader. I have equal opportunity. I have SHARP. I have all of these resources to report negligent behavior. Why go to the media before using those resources?
Well, what they want to do is get him fired. So they go to the media because then at that point, because at that point it becomes like you got to do something because then the story's out there. So either you're going to have to prove that you're not who they say that you are and hope that you don't get fired or just get fired. Yeah, and I get that too. But the easiest way to get someone fired in that process, in the federal government, with the military, whatever, is to use those resources through equal opportunity, through those reporting resources, SHARP, whatever. When I say SHARP, I'm just throwing out resources, right? But hey, if I don't like you as my supervisor and you haven't been present, and I can tell that you're actively either drunk or hungover, I'm going to go to my HR. They're going to initiate an investigation. That's the proper way to do it. So when you say 24, well, not you, but when they say 24 sources, okay, you guys are going to the media, but not using the proper channels. So what are you guys really trying to do, or what's going on? That's my question. We're going to see. I think, like I said, that they went to the media because they wanted more action to be taken, because you can go through the proper channels and then the action that you want to see is not done. Maybe that was already a thing that happened. They went to proper channels and what you wanted to see wasn't done. So now it's like, okay, let's do this. Or it could have been the tip. It could have been somebody that, because it said some of the sources were like hotel staff. So it could have been somebody that's not even part of the job, but they know who that is. Yeah. So they said something to the media from that perspective. It could be enemies Okay, because not everybody's going to be on your same team. It could be an enemy. Okay, I'm in the government, but I'm not a MAGA. I'm not a Republican. I don't like Kash Patel. I'm going to go to the media and tell. And there were 24 or so people that had that same kind of idea.
Okay, yeah. Good point. But I would say, hey, I would lean a little cautious, man. I think he's more passionate, and he's meeting a lot of red tape, trying to accomplish so much in such a short period. And he's a little younger, right? I probably would, just step aside for a little bit, let it play out, and leave the media out. And just me personally, right? You have your own opinion, right? So, but the second one is the female, the counterintelligence agent.
Yeah.
So, hey, was Buddy wrong? 100%. 100% wrong. But you can't leave her out, because the level clearance that she holds, she left herself vulnerable.
Okay.
You cannot do that.
But how did she do that though? Like you gotta explain it to me, that because I've heard people say that she was vulnerable, but how did she do that?
So when you hold a certain level clearance, right? Let's say you just have a top secret. Then you have a top secret SCI. Then you have a top secret SCI with certain read-ons, HB, section such, certain, different codes. These codes matter. Now, in her situation, I'm sure she has everything, a Yankee clearance, every clearance you can think of. Now, for him to come forward, I just say I'm glad it was him instead of a North Korean agent, Iranian agent, because what I'm seeing right now is she loved the lavish life. She loved the money. She's beautiful. Lot of vulnerabilities to where an agent could have manipulated her for information, and at that level, she should know better.
Okay,
you see what I mean?
I see what you're saying, but just because she was a sugar baby does not mean she'd be manipulated, because there's plenty of women that get manipulated, just like Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem is married and been married since 1994 with kids, probably got grandkids too. But you see what happened to her with Corey Lewandowski. So I don't think it's a matter of the lifestyle that she was living. I think it's a matter of the person, whether they can, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. And you know what? On a code level, it's the wrong thing for Buddy to have done. But when it comes to her position, she was wrong. It's certain lifestyles in that arena that you can and cannot live. It's just like the military. Like me personally, I get a little pissed when I see females in the military that have OnlyFans accounts. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get a DUI with that type of clearance. You can't go out and accept so much money with that type of clearance without reporting it. She knows that. So even if she was living that lifestyle, enjoying it, knowing her position, she was wrong. There's no debate or anything around that. She was 100% wrong. And if dude was salty, he was wrong too. But I rather him report her than her had been manipulated by an agent from another country. You see what I mean? Because when you put money, when you put lifestyle into the position that she's in, that just creates vulnerability. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. As beautiful as she is, she can go civilian sector and do that. But for the government, with that clearance level position, yeah, she knows she can't do that. So she was wrong. He was wrong. It's just a messed up situation.
Well, I hear your point of view. I do. I hear your point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's tough. It's a tough one. Like I say, just going back, I know you got a million callers. I'm not going to hold you. I'm just saying those are the only two ones from my perspective for you, just to look at. Like Kash Patel, again, I'll just say I think it's more burnout, a lot of red tape. He may have a drink here and there, but I don't see him as a true alcoholic. I see him as a frustrated individual who is in a position that usually it takes years to get to. So he's fighting a lot of battles that not many, have fought in that position.
Right, I got
you. And with the female, she knows better. She knows better than to do what she has been doing.
I got
you. Unfortunately, someone called her out, salty individual, but again, better him than an outside agent.
Right. I got you, boss. Thank you for your call, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, always, man. Hey, thank you. I appreciate what you do, boss.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. Shout out to the caller. But really, I'm going to just say this. So with the young lady who was a sugar baby, and they're saying that it's a security risk because you like that glamorous lifestyle and you are manipulated by somebody. These sugar babies are very smart. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Unknown caller on the line. Who am I speaking to?
We'll begin bombing in 5 minutes.
ABL, man. Wow. How long was that guy on the phone for? 6.5, 7 minutes? You have a lot of patience. I'm telling you.
It's all good, man. What's going on?
Wow. Anyway, that was a lot to get through. Well, I'm really pissed off at Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and Alex Jones, and also the Hodge twins. They turned their backs on Trump the other day.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but people sometimes they do things like that.
Well, sir, it looks like obviously they're not ultra MAGA like I am. I don't support Trump because he made me $134,000 in slightly over a year on my stocks. I gained back $32,000, and I gained another $92,000 on top of that, thanks to Trump. But hey, Tucker's worth between $4 and $20 million and $1 billion. I just looked him up about 20 minutes ago.
Right.
So of course he can afford to turn his back on Trump. His taxes aren't getting cut. Like us working class people are. It just sucks that he has to turn his back on Trump like that. And Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, I mean, they're all traitors, man. No, I'm in it 100%. Whether I get money from stocks and money inherited from my dead father, from life insurance money or not, I don't care. I'm in it, to the end, last man, last bullet. If the left ever starts a civil war. So I'm just really pissed about that. But explain to me, the gerrymandering, how is the left able to get away with this stuff since the 1980s?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I think they've been pretty much unchallenged in their states.
Yeah, and then like you pointed out earlier, because I was listening to you in my car about an hour and a half ago, they always accuse us, of what they're doing, and they're accusing us of gerrymandering. And I've seen the election commercials, on YouTube. And I'm like, it's so like them to deflect, what they're doing by accusing us of doing what they're doing. That goes back to Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals, doesn't it? Back in his book from 1971, accuse your enemy of what they're, of what you're accusing them of doing.
Yes.
So, anyway, man, I just want to point that out. But yeah, this whole thing with Tucker Carlson, that's such a big disappointment. About 2 days ago, I just unsubscribed from all those people, because they don't need my subscription. They're a bunch of damn traitors. Screw those bastards. Anyway, that's all I want to say. Thank you very much for taking my call. I'm still ultra MAGA, America first, make America great again, and Trump 2028. Have a great night, man. Take care.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
See you. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. And shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the call. Like the video. Share the video. Do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. 504 to the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Alien Spaceship.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Shout out to you in chat. I'm enjoying the show. It has been very cool, and yeah, I'm glad that you're covering about the SPLC. They're funding these racist alleged racist things that are happening, and yeah, I was seeing earlier that they're funding all kinds of white supremacist groups. You know, Ku Klux Klan, the neo-Nazis, etc. And, you know, thousands of dollars being put into it. And it seems like they're causing a bunch of problems that didn't need to happen.
Well, I don't know. I think the SPLC, I think they were using the informants like the way the FBI does. And I'm kind of slow to criticize them because we can use informants as well on our side to infiltrate them. So I don't want it to be a thing where we stop them from using confidential informants and then we are also robbed of that same privilege.
Yeah, I might be getting mixed up with something else. There is something I was seeing earlier where there is I don't know if I'm talking about the same thing. There is this organization that's supposed to stop racism, but, you know, from the left, but instead they were funding racist movements. They're like false flag operations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the SPLC. Oh, like okay. they had informants. So they had informants, and some say that they were just funding the operation, but really they were funding their informants. I mean, I guess somebody could say that they were funding some of the hate crimes, but that's not necessarily the case. And if it is to be seen like that from using informants, then that'd be also true of the federal government, especially them, because they have a much more robust informant program, but also some of the conservative groups out there that don't get much attention in the mainstream media, they do the same thing. So although I'm no fan of the SPLC, it's hard for me to criticize them for doing that when we do the same thing on our side.
Okay. I understand. Thank you. So also, I think that the people on the left don't really seem to understand that on their side, the party, you know, the Democrat Party, they seem to not really have the best interests for the people that they say that they're, you know, trying to help, but they seem like they're out for their own selves and making themselves more wealthy and using politics as a way to do that. And there are certain political agendas. When our side, I think it's trying to truly help the country because there's outside foreign entities that are trying to corrupt the country and divide it.
Oh yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now with the robots you showed, I think that was very interesting because the robots were I think in the future over time, they're going to take a lot of jobs and they're going to be involved in daily life more often than they are now. And although there is concern about this, I think it is very, important for people to not be completely reliant on them as time goes on to the future, because I don't know if they could be hacked or compromised. Because I don't mind them, but I don't completely trust those machines in the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing. I mean, we've seen robots we've seen some of these movies like iRobot, where it's like the machines kind of go crazy and they do things. I mean, I guess that could happen, but I think the way things are going right now, people want to work less and less. The incentive to work is becoming less and less in the Western world, especially. So the robots are just going to be a thing that happens, and hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I think that the people, of course, myself and everyone else, to continue doing things like without the help of the robots, which this is something way in the future, to a certain extent where we don't become too reliant on them, where we hinder our own abilities to do certain, regular daily things. And I do wonder how it'll affect jobs in the future, because I do think they'll take different jobs, but I suppose, as time goes on, people will be even more involved in doing things with tech. But I do think, remember, they had this robot that was flipping burgers. So I think that they will replace a lot of those jobs, especially if the left got their way with their minimum wage being higher. They're just going to build robots to do it.
Yeah, that'll be the thing. The robots will do a lot of the more menial tasks that humans don't really want to do as much, or they prefer not to do as much. And then as far as human beings, I'm not quite sure what we would do for a living. or if we'll do anything at all. I don't know how that's really going to work in the future, but I think that we'll figure something out by the time the robots take over. At least that's what I hope happens. I hope we just don't try to figure it out after the revolution of robots.
Yes. Like, the Terminator would be the worst situation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And AI, I think, could be used for a lot of things to make us, as you said, more intelligent. It could be used to have different artwork stuff made or produce different things. And at the same time, some people have talked to it, and some people don't completely trust them, and I don't blame them. But yeah, it's interesting about what they're going to give us later on, because they're still developing things for us right now that we'll get later on. The AI reminds you of when the original computers came out, like the PC came out. I think it's like a modern version of that.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And back then it was kind of hard to fathom what the computer could do and how far it could really advance us as people. AI is the same way. It's this new thing that we're just kind of getting our hands on. And I guess only time will tell to see how far it can take us.
Right. Okay. And I have some plants that came up and they're doing good.
Well, hey, that sounds good, man. You got good weather going on, so good time to grow things.
Yeah, and I do streams in my garden, and the people really like it.
Oh yeah, like outdoor stuff. That's definitely a thing where people really enjoy. They enjoy seeing the whole process. So that's definitely a good thing to get into.
Yeah. So I was up for a long time doing that earlier, but I was able to, as I'm getting my internet completely repaired. So I'll be, doing the things I usually do on Friday. So I was able to come over here and be here through the whole show, and it was nice coming back for a whole show.
Right on, man. Sounds good to me.
Okay, ABL, shout out to you and chat. Thank you for taking my call. Have a good night.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
All right. Shout out to Alien Spaceship for the call. Always a great call. And shout out to you guys for rocking and rolling with me. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you heard tonight, please give the video thumbs up. Like the video. You know the rest. I appreciate y'all for being here. Definitely a very healthy hobby being out there in the yard, in the garden. Hey, I'm a yard king. I be out there in that yard all the time. Let's go. Your last speaker to 437.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I don't even know where to start. Sometimes when people give information, it's met with resistance, anger, cognitive dissonance, denial. And it may sound if it's too far ahead of its time, some people, especially if they're ignorant in chat section, not that I really give a flying for the most part, but it seems unbelievable. Then people make fun or they just don't believe. And even Klaus Schwab said, not you or anyone in particular, I don't know any of you out there, I can't even see you. You're all just a bunch of worthless eaters, feeders, and breeders. Useful idiots. That's why he can tell people what he's going to do before he does it, and still people don't believe and people don't understand what the plot is. To replace you all. To replace people. To get rid of you, actually. So, all this robot stuff, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. When they get rid of your jobs, they're going to give you, like I said last year, the year before, universal welfare is going to be the plot they offer, the bribe. And they'll also want to bring forth a Chinese point system. Communism, socialism, same difference. Mr. Marx, in his deathbed, admitted that Marxism looks really good in his book or on paper, but in reality and in practicality, it really does not work. And a lot of the people on the left talk about, you're a racist, this, that, and the other. But Mr. Marx was a racist himself. Weird contradictory is they like to yell out Nazi, but did you know some of the Muslims, I think it was the Muslims, I have to triple check, they were working with the Nazis to a certain degree, if I'm not mistaken. Lastly, the same left wingers who have pink here and all that craziness, they're the first ones that are going to get launched off the penthouse of some place in a Muslim country. So they're promoting things that are actually counterproductive to their alphabet people agenda. But that's why they say Satan is the author of confusion. He comes to lie, deceive, and destroy. If you actually check it and double check it, you'll see that the guys and girls on their father's side, the father, the king of lies, Satan, they all like to work together. And they all benefit from each other for now. But universal welfare, I call it universal income of $5,000 a month, comes with a catch. Idiots would be like, oh, wow, we get our own body weight in weed or whatever addiction we have. Oh, wow, free drugs are taxpayers' expense. That's also, some mayors are plotting that as well. But what you don't know is, if you don't know, do what you're told like a good old slave, like you always said, liberals, fake liberals, they want people to go back to slavery. If you don't do what you're told, to not eat meat, to stay home 3 days, 4 days a week, you're going to lose your so-called privileges, where instead of half price on meat, under the falsehood of being green or the falsehood of what? Getting rid of emissions or some monkey business or not carbohydrates, carbon dioxide, you're going to pay twice as much for food, or you're not going to be allowed to leave your house, or you're going to lose your housing, or you're going to lose your farewell checks, your universal income, because you're replaced by what? AI, robots. When you have too much of something, like too much refugees in a country, the value of you goes way down in terms of supply and demand. When the standard goes down, when the education level goes down and people are uneducated, they're all getting passes at the driving centers when they, these so-called rocket scientists, engineers from certain parts of Asia, but they're parking under the no parking sign. When they get your job and lower the standard, although they're not qualified, they can't even press go and stop on a train, basic stuff. They're taking you people out of your own home, your own job, your own opportunities, and they're easier to fool. When they're easier to fool and control with lack of morality, like that sexy politician lady there, I still think she's hot, but we got to balance beauty with wisdom and insight. It's a slippery slope when you mix immorality with a high power position, or immorality with not being wise. It makes you a very susceptible target. And like that wise caller said, it could have been a like you were as well saying as well. Could have been an infiltrator, could have been a spy, like Project Veritas. Because while some people are seeking truth, knowledge, and to do the right thing the right way with a moral compass and moral fiber, there are people out there dedicated to mashing everything up everywhere they go. And just because some people may not have experience, and you're not in the field, or you're not swimming in this stuff, or you're not in the room where they're cooking it up, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Now, if I were to say things that sounded far-fetched, just because you don't see it, or you're in grade 2 and I'm in grade 6, and I know what E equals MC squared means and you don't, it doesn't make me a fool. The one that doesn't know E equals MC squared, or doesn't have experience, or doesn't see what some people see, and we're at the ceiling level of it. We see it planted all around. Certain countries are a testing ground, and
right,
there's a lot of stuff going on
off, but you got to kind of
blind about.
But you got your land your plane.
Trump, what?
Yeah, you got to land your plane, because I got limited time. You got to land your plane.
All right. So basically, with respect to Trump, I'll just try and wrap it up. And that Somalian lady, I can't stand her forehead or 5 head or buck teeth, barnacle ways. There's a lot of them over here making a mess of everything and always. As for Trump, the question is, why are all these people from Alex Jones to Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens? Yeah, she has a cute nose, big juicy eye, big war cookie eyes. Why is all these people, as I call her, say, why they so-called turning against Trump? Why is that? That wasn't even asked, and he didn't even dip into that. So there needs to be more rhetorical questions and see the bigger scope. Even if your eyes are half shut, you look with your pupils, use your brain. I like Donald Trump, appreciate a lot of what he's done, but you don't backstab the people that helped you to get to where you are, man. Because when you stab your tires, you're going nowhere fast. And there's a lot of people that he's only discovering that are not good. Kash Patel, that's just one of them. I like Mark Rubio. God bless America, land of the free, home of the brave, and let's use our cash and less digital promotion, because if you go cashless society, they're gonna tell you how to spend your money. I'm literally telling you, but I know half the people just chuckling at me, right? All right, God bless America, land of the free, home of the brave.
Thanks for the call, appreciate you.
Good night.
All righty, and you guys talking tonight, ain't you? You guys hey, you guys got a lot to say tonight. Everybody want to just, you know what I mean? But shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for being here. You guys are the fantastic audience. If you like what you're hearing so far, if you enjoyed the content tonight, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right, that will be a wrap for me tonight. If you couldn't get on tonight, don't blame me, blame the white man, because it ain't my fault. But I'll be back live on the YouTubes on Saturday night from 8 p.m. Eastern time to right around right now, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm live on Instagram each and every Tuesday at 9 p.m. to right around right now, I suppose, 10:30, 11 Eastern Standard Time. Again, Instagram Tuesday, YouTube Wednesday, Saturday. But I'm here every day putting up pre-recorded content, long form, short form, whatever you want. I got it. Go to my Twitter, go to my TikTok, go to my Instagram, my Facebook, go everywhere, find whatever you want. And I got everything for you. But I think that's pretty much a wrap. Oh, this will be available. This is an audio streaming podcast as well. It'll be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, etc. Link for everything will be in the box, or just visit your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. I got super chats on deck. I believe I have these. I'll read these right quick, then I wrap it on up, put the bow on top. Shout out to you guys for watching, retweeting, super chatting, whatever you do. I could not do the show without you. Thank you to the mods for keeping them trolls in check. I appreciate y'all for that as well. Okay, thank you to Taylor Langley Fitness, who says, AI right now is only good at compiling massive amounts of data. It isn't capable of physically interacting with the real world and making its own decisions. A human will be in the loop for a long time. I agree. I think AI will be a tool that will make us be more productive. I think that'll be the tool. And a lot of the jobs that are required for productivity now will be used by AI, although it cannot totally replace human beings. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, there are some jobs that humans do that do not necessarily require a human if AI can do the most mundane of things. But when you're talking about more complex things and the usage of these tools, it'll still require a human, you know? So what's a good example? Okay. It might have, okay, you got a hammer and then you got a brad nailer. Okay. Just because the brad nailer exists does not mean that the job of construction is obsolete. It's just a brand new tool that makes things a little bit better. And you might be able to use fewer humans because everybody's just not using hammer and nails to build the house. And then you have more creative ways of being able to cut your lumber, like how they do in Japan, where there's no need for any nails. Everything kind of fits together. You got like mallets, you know, getting pieces of wood to lock together in a very strong and lasting structure. Does it make any sense? You're getting better tools now. That's the key. And some of these tools may make humans obsolete because the tool can do the job of a human being. Thank you to Michael Critchlow, who says William Cooper's Behold a Pale Horse has the answer to why 11 scientists have wound up dead or missing. Well, there we go. Shout out to him and shout out to you guys as well. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. But that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.